Okay, I think we're live. What's up, South to West? Thank goodness this is back. Of course, F Wood, Vinny Slugga. What's up, Vinny? I haven't heard about the audio cassettes. I'm gonna go there in person though today and check it out. So we'll see about that. Today, of course, we got sightings. Tomorrow, I know I only titled it 4 stories, but that's because basically, like, to me, that's a perfect title for it. But we're gonna look at 4 stories of 4 very different people on YouTube, and I think it's gonna be pretty interesting. But that's just me. I like shit like that. But anyway, today we have this is, if you remember, we tried to watch this one time, this set of episodes, and we couldn't because the power went out, and then it stayed off like all day. So that was like I ended up not being able to come back that day. But so if you were here for that, you might recognize like the first, I don't know, I don't even think we got through like half an episode or whatever, but anyway, this is Sightings, Season 3, Episode 9. We're going back to the Sally house, Loch Ness Monster, Height 6'11", and one of the segments I've been waiting for patiently, Dolphin healing. So let's get started.
On this edition of Sightings, a mysterious
I gotta
force
turn my
lashes out at the
so that I can actually hear
residents of this house.
We got fresh blood here.
In this Sightings exclusive, a dangerous spirit makes contact.
We cannot, in our own bodies, make that sound.
Oh, but I'm probably not going to be here on Wednesday. I'm debating whether or not I want to do a Twitch stream. I'll have to see how I feel tomorrow. But I'll be back Thursday for prime time, and then I'll be on YouTube on Friday. I was thinking, though, why not record the Memphis episodes that I want to watch and then upload them to my own channel? And that way I can look at the copyright, because if I do it in advance, it'll show me like where the copyrights are. Maybe I can go in and pre-edit those videos so that we can watch it here on YouTube. I hate moving it over there. I love Twitch, but I think Memphis just feels better over here. So I don't know. I'll get it figured out. You know, the Sally House story is ridiculous. It's been like one of the longest running things. Can I please take a video of me getting the cassettes? I can try, but I don't know that the people will want to appear on film. I can maybe get a picture of it like without showing showing people's faces though. I mean, you can legally film in a library, but I don't want to I'm not trying to be an auditor, you know what I mean?
Then, secrets from the Red Empire.
What if they
The Soviet
record me?
military called it Height 611. A UFO crashed here, and now the evidence is analyzed.
It could very well be of an extraterrestrial origin.
Plus, it may not have been a hoax after all. Witnesses tell us that Nessie lives.
All I can say is that I saw a very large creature, living creature, for sure.
Yeah, George Dorinda.
This boy's
I got a lot riding on George, man. I really need George to come up in the clutch, like desperately,
mysterious
as we
connection
close
with
out
dolphins leads
prime
to a
time.
miracle.
The dolphins just went crazy. It was like he had come home. He was in heaven now.
Sorry, I gotta adjust my volume. I would be a good auditor, but I don't like intentional confrontation. Like, you know what I mean? I prefer like contextual confrontation. Like, I don't really like specifically trying to I don't like to cause problems. Ain't nobody gonna try to stop me anyway.
Welcome to Sightings.
I look
I'm
like
Tim White.
I look like a Grand
Since
Theft Auto
Sightings
character.
went online, your response has been staggering, and no story has generated more email than our series of reports on the Heartland
Satires of
Ghost.
sovereign citizens.
We heard from skeptics, believers, and many viewers who
Have you seen some of the, like, I get it that when you're like when you're in a content niche, you have to continue to do that no matter like how shitty the content gets. But like, man, some of these auditors are really getting desperate, like filming outside of gyms and stuff. It's like, I'm all for like the people who go to the federal buildings or people who go wherever, but like, I don't know. I just feel like harassing people at a gym or something is like a little bit, unless you're Frank Hassel and you can make it Keno.
Who had good ideas about how to broaden our investigation. So good, in fact, that we decided to put them into action when we returned to the house.
I meant to tell you guys too, my selfie stick broke that I used to shoot my videos when I'm out, and I also make my taste tests with them. So I had to use a regular like video camera tripod today, and it worked like shit. But I'm gonna try to get another one when I go out. I'm gonna get a new selfie stick when I go out today. But I'm gonna try to record videos at Burger King. No, wait, is it Burger King? No, it's Wendy. Yeah, Burger King and Wendy's maybe. They've got new drinks there. I might try to just shoot the videos while I'm at Burger King.
With world-renowned parapsychologist Carrie Gaynor.
Yeah, the theme song is sick.
For the Midwestern family who lives
Cotton
here,
Candy
the last 2
Cloud.
years have been a paranormal nightmare.
Freeze at
They've
Burger
asked
King,
us
and then
not to reveal their true
Southwest
names,
been asking, I
so
think it's
we're
the
using the
tangerine
pseudonyms
lemonade or
Pam,
something
Jeff,
like that.
and
at
their young
Wendy's.
son Donnie. When Sightings first came to document the phenomena here, we were stunned to see long, bleeding welts forming on Jeff's body. He believed it was the work of a child ghost the family calls Sally.
A child gets so hot in here. I don't want
We
to say that.
contacted parapsychologist Carrie Gaynor, whose groundbreaking investigations of the entity and poltergeist cases
I
have
have
made
almost
him an
no clothes on, and
undisputed
it's still
authority
like
in the field.
super hot in here.
This is the beginning of the research, and a lot more needs to be done in order for me to really feel comfortable that this is a legitimate case.
Yeah, Carrie Gaynor keeps
So,
he's
Sightings
always
returned
attached
to
to
the
this.
house
He's
on
making a
2
paycheck.
subsequent occasions, and each time the pattern of bloody welts appeared on Jeff.
The number one question that friends and relatives that do know of our situation ask, and I'm sure probably every one of your television viewers ask, is why do you stay here? Why don't you just get out? You know, what holds you there? Curiosity. There needs to be more data so that we can know what exactly this is, what causes it. Why do these things happen to certain people, certain places, certain times?
Based on our initial findings, Carrie Gaynor joined the Sightings investigative team on our most recent trip to the Midwest.
Tell me about your fear level in the beginning and how you feel now.
After viewing hours of videotape shot in the field, Carrie Gaynor
No
sat
kidding,
with
yeah.
Pam and Jeff to develop a detailed profile of the ghostly activity. We also put in place an arsenal of electronics, oscilloscopes,
Oh, yeah, I remember
frequency
now,
counters,
$500,000.
and surveillance cameras that would monitor the house continuously. Much of our equipment was concentrated in the nursery, where
That's what I was wondering, and I feel like, again, I don't believe this. I think they're lying. But on top of that, like, if you did believe it and you really did think that, why wouldn't you protect? I mean, I get it if they can't move, like if they're financially prevented from moving or whatever. But like, if you really genuinely believe there's like a ghost that's like physically harming people, why would you like leave your kids there?
where earlier photographic anomalies had been recorded.
Unless you're just like,
Another camera.
listen, buddy, it's a line in the sand. You can do whatever you want to. We ain't leaving this house.
Position was at the top of the stairs, where on a previous visit, psychic Peter
Grifters will always profit. Grifting is much easier than like actually, actually doing shit. But yeah, I agree 100%.
James had
Think about it, like real. Okay, I'm not saying this about me. My tastes are too weird to ever be like a popular like movie reviewer. But imagine being like a really high level movie reviewer and you get like, 50K views on your video, and then you have some grifter that's saying like, oh, this movie is too woke, or this movie is racist or whatever, and then that gets like 500,000 views like consistently. Like, I don't know. I mean, it's definitely not something new, but it's weird to me that like that's more popular than like the people who make like every frame a painting and like do these nice essays about the movies and stuff. Like, you get more clicks just by saying like, oh, the lead here is masculine looking, or
encountered what he felt was a
Whatever.
frightening entity.
movies,
I'm getting a lot of resistance right
movie
here at the door,
commentary
meaning
sucks now.
whatever
Like
is in the room
100% sucks.
wants me out.
2 cameras were placed in the living room area, where many people had experienced strange events.
Our pictures on the wall are turned upside down. The vacuum will
Oh, I wouldn't be surprised, Finway.
turn off when we're vacuuming. The TV will come back on after we've turned it off. The stereo will come back on after we've turned it off. My son's musical toys will play for no reason.
We were now set to monitor any anomalous activity that might occur inside the house. We turned the family kitchen into a control center. Audio transmitters were placed around the house, and separate
Especially
video
with like
recorders
recent
assigned to each
events
camera.
of, you know.
We also set up a
I'm not too
handheld
surprised.
thermal imaging system. Any unusual cold spots would turn the normally red tones of human flesh to blue. During this
What was
setup,
that guy doing?
producer Craig Armstrong had his own encounter.
There it went right again, right over here. But I get like a cool right here. It's really weird.
Perhaps it was a premonition of things to come, or a result of what Peter
What's up,
James had
Jeremy?
felt during his psychic investigation when he sensed death.
Oh boy,
and
look, speaking of
despair.
grifters.
I do feel, as we speak, that over the years that at least 3 people died in this house.
Our review of town records confirmed Peter James's psychic impressions. 3 people did, in fact, die in the house. One in 1872, another in 1900, the last in 1918.
Oh, wow.
We unearthed their death records on the eve of our all-night vigil.
You know how people be.
Kerry Gaynor asked that his investigation continue by
Mustache.
low-level
You
lamplight.
think that's the reason?
All right, why don't you make a request? Anything that comes to your mind.
Hold on, wait till he gets back on camera again.
Could you do this for me, please? I'd like for you to show them that you're really here.
No one in the room heard a response, but our videotape recorded a chilling sound.
Oh, I'm dumb. I was like, I'm sitting here like I'm leaning into. I don't know why I'm. I could just turn the volume up, but for some reason it's more like interesting if I like lean in. To me, it is anyway. But like I'm listening and I'm clearly hearing the guy say nobody heard anything. Yet for some reason I'm still listening.
We've asked 2 independent experts to analyze.
Well, that's the thing. Like, does he need like a second job or something so that he can? Why can't he just use the Just for Men on his hair? What's up, JF?
The sound and determine its possible origin. We'll bring you the complete report on their findings later in this program.
Talk about not having much longer. Understand.
During the time that the strange sound was being recorded, only one of 2 oil lamps began to flicker.
Oil
Although the wick
lamps?
was trimmed, the windows were closed, and the air was still.
You're open to ghosts?
Then, a few minutes later,
I mean, this might sound like a cop out or whatever, but I feel like ghosts are to me anyway, I view them similar to like religion, where like I think it's much more impactful and meaningful and real if it's on like a personal level, as opposed to like, you know, if you got a group of people together and went to hunt God, I mean, you're not going to find him. Same with the ghost, but I think that people can like individually have very powerful, you know, personal experiences with it.
Jeff felt a bizarre...
EFD is an alcoholic YouTube streamer that borrowed $306.17 from It's Me for a bus ticket and a hotel room and is yet to pay it back. And I think it's been 5 years, I want to say.
Chill in front of him.
Yeah, we've got a new scratch. Yeah, we got fresh blood here. This wasn't here 2 minutes ago.
It was just one of many scratches that appeared periodically throughout a night of bizarre events. When Pam walked in a specific area at the top of the stairs where many had felt a menacing presence, our frequency...
Did you see that, this like jank? Hold on, I'm sorry, I took it back too far.
Periodically throughout a night of bizarre events. When Pam walked in a specific area at the top of the stairs where many...
See this like big clunky, this is what I filmed my taste tests on today. Complete disaster.
He had felt a menacing presence. Our frequency counter suddenly and inexplicably jumped from 399 to 575 megahertz. Earlier in the day, in the same area, one of our surveillance cameras picked up large amounts of interference.
So,
seen here
yeah, well,
in
it's
slow
your
motion.
money, of
But
course.
this camera was on a closed circuit, and it would be impossible for it to pick up electrical interference. And in the nursery, video signals seemed to drift and then disappear entirely, although there was no
Very
break in
mysterious
electrical
happenings.
power or the video cable. After a few moments, the signal returned to normal. The next morning, a sense of calm returned to the house.
Look at this amazing bank of monitors. Like, holy cow. Oh my gosh. Dude, for real though, I hate that fucking... The thing that I have is like a little selfie stick that extends out into like a smaller tripod, but it's like perfect. And this, I hate that it fucking broke.
Paranormal investigator Carrie Gaynor. It had been an unforgettable night filled with unexplained events.
Many people try to buy
Yesterday
the
and last
death
evening,
of
I
the
spent about
EFD.
14 straight hours here investigating this case. During that time, Jeff was attacked 11 separate times. There were 11 separate instances of scratch marks on his body. Some of the scratches were very thin, and some were very thick, welt-like scratches that were really quite frightening. Now, I was sitting here.
I think I've said it before, but dude's gonna look like Sabu by the time. Oh, look at that rocking chair.
And I had him under
90s.
my supervision at all times. If he got up and walked away, when he came back, I asked him to take off his shirt so that I could examine what marks were there to make sure there was
This looks
no
like a
trickery
crazy, one of
involved.
those crazy
During the last 20
YouTube
years, I've
channels where it's like
investigated
a
about
family.
850 cases,
And they
and
do
during
all
that
weird,
time, I
weird
have
stage
never
shit. That's what
come
this
across
reminds me
anything
of.
like this. I think we've got something very
What's
interesting
up,
and
Russell
very
Plunge?
exciting here and really potentially dangerous.
Coming up, is this the sound of a dangerous entity communicating?
I've never heard anything quite like it.
Our startling discovery is analyzed next.
That lady's like stunned.
During our most recent investigation into the Heartland Ghost, we heard this.
I'd like for you to show them that you're really here.
Oh, the little rotating thing.
That anomalous low-level noise
What's up,
wasn't
Eddie?
heard in the field by producer Craig Armstrong or any other member of our crew, but back in our sighting.
Hey Eddie, I don't know if you were in here or not. I'm thinking about recording like the 2 Memphis episodes that we would watch on Friday, and then uploading them to my own channel as like unlisted or private videos, and that way I can see the copyright readout ahead of time. You know what I mean? And then maybe I can edit those so that we can keep Memphis over here.
Offices in the midst of an edit session, Armstrong and editor Mark Quinn Anderson heard the ghostly sounds that seemed to come in response to Jeff's plea.
It might mean cutting a match out or cutting a song out, but I think it would be worth it to keep Memphis on YouTube.
We immediately took
my
copies
opinion,
of the suspect tape to 2 diverse audio experts. Rick Wilson, president of Digisonics, is a forensic audio specialist who works routinely with the CIA and FBI.
The other benefit to that is that if we watch it on stream and I've got it, and I know that it'll let me show it on stream, if I've got the copyright, at least I've got the visibility ones taken care of, then there won't be any ads on the live stream. But if I have to put up the VOD from Twitch, then it'll get like 40 copyright claims, 100%. It'd be like
And
a shit
has
ton
also
of ads.
analyzed black box recordings for the FAA.
We looked for a lot of the characteristics that would immediately
Look at this
identify
awesome, like,
it as a
software
definitely
and hardware.
mechanical
It's fucking
sound, as
awesome.
definitely an electronic sound, and those were ruled out. See, one thing that makes this sound interesting and eliminates a lot of possibilities right off the bat is that above about 500 hertz, there's nothing there. There's nothing in this sound. There's a lot of background noise, but that's constant before and after the sound. But when this sound comes in, it's all low frequency and that's it. And we cannot, in our own bodies, make that sound.
If the sound is not natural, could it be supernatural? For an answer, we turn to
I like
electronic
this.
voice
I would wear
phenomena
this shirt.
authority
I like
Sarah
it.
Estep.
I've been taping for 18 years, and I've investigated a number of haunted homes, houses, properties, locations, and I've never heard anything quite like it. It sounds more like an energy sound, perhaps put out by the other side. It's interesting that it came right after Jeff asked Sally to please let them know that she was here. And then this low rumbling sound started and built up in volume, an energy sound that perhaps they produced at his request. Very, very interesting.
That's like when World of T-Shirts and Mr. Based used to go to those little apartment not studio apartment, but like a studio in an apartment in New York. And they'd pay people to record his terrible songs, but it's like, if you're the guy running the studio, who gives a shit, right? You don't have to produce it. You don't have to do anything. All you've got to do is just let this asshole sing and then collect your check and send him out the door.
Is it a ghost? I really have absolutely no way of knowing.
An energy sound.
My best bet is that it's something magnetic. And how that magnetism was introduced is anybody's guess.
I'd like for you to show them that you're really here.
Many people have asked, why doesn't the family simply move out? And in fact, they will be moving as soon as possible. Sightings will continue to keep in touch with the family to see if the haunting activity follows them, or if it remains in the house.
Next, is it all a lie? A new high-tech
Top
investigation
fan
and
counting.
terrifying
I don't understand
eyewitnesses
that
tell us
stuff.
that Nessie lives.
They were shocked.
You get like points for doing certain things, but there's no like, it's real like, it doesn't roll over to the next stream, and I don't really get, I think it's just another like microtransaction encouragement thing. I didn't enable it or anything.
Drumnadrochit on the shores of Loch Ness is the town a monster built. Since the 1930s, thousands of biologists, zoologists, and tourists have flocked to the Scottish Highlands in search of Nessie, the Loch Ness monster. But recent revelations about hoaxed photographs and phony reports are putting a serious dent in monster mania.
Suddenly I saw this colossal great hump, about 60 or 70 feet long. It looked black against the wall.
She saw Nessie in 1916? Huh? How old is this lady?
So, you know, about 60 or 70.
Yeah, first saw Nessie in 1916. So she's got to be like a little kid, right? Has to be. This is, gosh, I don't know, 90s. I guess it doesn't have the exact year, but this has got to be mid-90s, so she's got to be, like, super old.
20 feet long. It looked black against the water, you know, and it was going fast against the wind.
Yeah, like, you can earn points just by chatting and engage, you know, interacting, but then, like, the real point, like, if someone donated anything, like, it's like a huge boost, which I don't understand, because, like, why would you care? It doesn't do anything. You don't get anything for it. You know what I mean?
All I can say is that I saw a very large creature, living creature, for sure.
So she's got to be like,
there's something. What is it? I don't know, but there's
I don't
something
know.
definite.
She can't be 90, can she?
That's moving.
American
That's
Gladiators.
alive.
We could watch it on Twitch, but not here. They have an official channel, and like their episodes are in the content ID. I tried to stream them once before. You can buy super chats. I know, but like I don't understand what the point of it is, though. Like I understand the point of a super chat. I don't understand like why you would want to buy a super chat to move up in the rankings of like a fake rating system. You know what I mean?
Scores of once skeptical eyewitnesses now believe that there is a
It reminds me of like Dark Side Phil, how you go to his stream and he's like in the morning and he's like, okay, I need to make $130 on this stream, and then you come back in the night. And it's like he wants another 130, and then when you come back the next day, it's another 130. Like this is a never-ending, like Sisyphus pushing a rock up a hill. If you want to keep one of those crowns, like
they're hiding in Loch Ness.
And for what purpose?
And the Loch can hide its secrets well. 900 feet deep, 23 miles long, and 1 mile wide. It's been estimated that there is enough
like make
water
the app
in this lake
better
to submerge the entire population of the Earth.
No
All
one asked
5
for that, I
billion
don't
of us,
think.
3 times over. That's certainly enough water to hide a small population of unknown aquatic predators.
The thing turned and came streaking across straight towards me. I was looking from here across the castle, and it came straight towards me very fast.
Yeah, I can see some people being like, ooh, Eddie, you're number 3, but how long will Eddie hold on to the crown? That's what DSP would say. Who is gonna knock Eddie off the charts today with his crown?
From the far side of the loch, but there was no head and neck showing then. There was just this great hump.
Oh, you can use
The
them for
hysteria
super
over
chats.
the Loch Ness monster really took off in the 1930s.
That can't be true.
When a spate of photographs and films
I think you
captured the world's
get
imagination.
XP
Here is the most unusual film
if
of
you send a
recent
super
years,
chat.
for it proves the existence of a monster in Loch Ness.
Taken in 1934, this is the world's most famous photograph of Nessie.
Whale
Called
dick.
the surgeon's photo, it has colored our perception of what the monster looks like for more than 60 years. But a recent in-depth investigation by Alistair Boyd has turned up compelling evidence
Alistair
that
Boyd?
this photo is a fake.
People have pinned their faith on that photograph. They believe in Nessie because of that photograph, which is
Hang
a very
on a
dangerous
second,
thing to
let me see
do,
something.
because all that is a little image on a piece of paper or on a negative, and at the end of the day, that is all it is. And in fact, it's a model built on a clockwork toy submarine. There isn't any doubt about that.
The 1-foot-high monster was made of plastic wood and set atop a toy submarine. But one hoax does not explain away hundreds of other credible sightings. Even after many crop circles were exposed as fakes,
Yeah, I don't know.
there
I just
remains
think the whole
extensive
crown
documentation
system is
that
bizarre.
not every
I don't
one of
know.
them
That's
is man-made.
strange.
It's the same at Loch Ness. Some things just
On Twitch, they have the same thing, but like it's pretty clear what it is. You get like a, I don't know. I guess maybe they think people would really want to have the lighter shade of a purple crown next to their name. I don't know.
cannot be explained away. Naturalist Adrian Shine has been
Oh, boy,
studying
that
the
looks like
loch
a
for the last 20 years.
Unthought
The 1980s were
caveman.
really the time for sonar. The classic photographs had already been dismissed. The underwater pictures were
Look at that
controversial.
fleet of
Sonar
vehicles.
was the one area in which it seemed that you could get reproducible, unusual results. And we believe that sonar has revealed some unusual objects in the water column, but the argument is about what they are.
A submarine is the newest addition to the Loch Ness research
Oh my
effort.
God, a submarine.
Captain Alan Whitfield has experienced some mysterious contacts deep under the
That's
murky
fair,
peat-stained waters of the loch. In July of 1994, a cruise ship above Whitfield...
I mean, I kind of get to that it's maybe wanting to encourage whatever, but I mean, I guess you could just be an asshole about it, right? I mean, if you spam a tower, that's 6 or 7 interactions total. So like that would bump you up the leaderboard. Like that doesn't seem very like intuitive.
Field submarine picked up an unusual image on its sonar. It appeared to be a very large object moving deliberately
They
through
took
the
your
water,
crown.
shadowing the submarine.
They took our crowns.
2 targets came up on the screen.
Did you guys see
One
Tony
obviously the
Storm
submarine, hard
over the
target,
weekend in her
about
match with
450
Mercedes
feet.
Moan,
The second
where
target
she
was quite
bit her
large,
crotch?
according to the captain, possibly as big as a submarine.
This
Oh,
was
I
definitely
don't
a
know.
substantial echo.
There is no
When we saw
algorithm where
the
we
large
are.
object below the submarine, we immediately contacted the submarine control.
Now, when asked, were we towing anything, were we flying anything, we said no, we're doing nothing that we didn't normally do. So obviously something was out there.
The question now is not if, but what is roaming the vast blackness of Loch Ness. And ironically, revelations about hoaxes have helped rather than hindered serious investigation.
The surgeon's photograph, when it was revealed to be a hoax, it got rid of a lot of dead wood. It got rid of a wild card. There's never been a sighting like that since, and before, for that matter. The head and the neck doesn't exist. So now we can concentrate on what we feel are the right sightings, the humpback. This is what's come forward so many times.
Alistair Boyd has revealed many Nessie photographs to be hoaxes, but he's not only a debunker. His intense interest in the subject is the result of his own life-changing encounter at Loch Ness.
There was a large body clearly in the middle of these flippers. There was a kind of a sort of vortex effect following it. As it went round, I mean, I thought that's probably that. And then this huge hump came out of the water. It was rolling.
I guess so, yeah. And two, like I'm viewing it through my thing, which is that like literally. I guess if you're in a big stream that's got a bunch of people and you want direct interaction with the streamer, but again, then you're going to have to pay for it. Like what you're going to, if you send a super chat, you're going to get personal attention in most chats. But I guess if it's like just maybe if they do something special for the person at the end of the video, like if it's a really big channel, they like, say some greeting to you or something, but I don't know.
Rolling forward as it came out. It was like a whale. It was black. You could see the water running off its back as it came out. When it actually stabilized, there was no less than 20 feet of it actually sitting there still, for several seconds. It was just sitting there. All I can say is that I saw a very large creature, living creature for sure, Certainly not a boat wake, certainly not a log, certainly not an otter, certainly not birds or anything else that I've ever seen here.
Certainly not
Sightings
birds.
traveled to the far side of the loch, to the small town of Dores. Like
Dores.
Drogheda, the locals here believe that there is something in the loch. But unlike the tourist center to the west, people in Dores keep their sightings to themselves. You won't find souvenir shops here, but you will hear about Nessie
Assistant Master
if you
Fry
know who to
Chef at
ask.
Burger King.
In 1993, fisherman Roland O'Brien saw something amazing.
It was a large, dark hump.
Roland
possibly about
O'Brien.
8 to 10 feet long, about 4
Irish.
feet out of the water. It was dark in colour. And there was no head or neck.
Yeah, I
anything
seen
like
the
that.
big
Couldn't see
snake.
anything
I
like
seen the
that
big
at all.
snake in the water.
In the middle of the body.
I think that's up north,
there was
Scottish,
a
maybe.
splashing commotion at the side of it this time, not in the
Irish
front of it.
Dave Barcelo
I don't
with his
honestly know what
ponytail.
that was. It could have been a flipper. Then proceeded to within about 250 yards from the shore, whereupon it just sank again. No commotion at all. It just sank completely out of sight. And basically I was shocked rigid.
Interesting.
Totally shocked.
The many credible eyewitness accounts stand as the only reliable proof of Nessie's existence. After compiling the characteristics
I've seen the
common
whole
to those
thing.
sightings,
Sunk
we
right
can
to the
build
bottom,
this
did she?
profile of the Loch Ness Monster. The sightings are of a large hump, no head or neck. The creature can move swiftly against the tide. There are fins at its side. It is
He does
black
look like a
and
jobber.
resembles a whale. When it submerges, it goes straight down, without a ripple, and it is huge.
60 years have gone by, and what do we actually know? Very little, very little. Everybody has theories, but to my mind, there are too many theories at Loch Ness and not enough people out here watching. I think if everybody who's ever put forward a theory on the identity of the Loch Ness Monster actually had put in 1,000 hours watching, there wouldn't be a mystery.
Where are
What
all
an
the scientists who
utter
once considered Loch Ness
waste
their
of
second
time.
home?
Well, I guess if you're
many of them
enjoying
are
it,
now
it isn't, but-
concentrating on a more promising lake creature called Champ. Champ is Nessie's North American cousin and is thought to inhabit the deep waters of Lake Champlain.
Hey, listen, instead of complaining on the internet about how Nessie doesn't exist, why don't you come down here? Why don't you travel across the world and sit at a loch for 1,000 hours?
It's been a mystery since 1986, but now there are answers.
What are you gonna do, just stand there?
Physical evidence.
I don't see
of an
anything.
extraterrestrial origin.
And later, a little boy's special bond with dolphins leads to a miracle.
Anything yet?
An alien craft
Not yet.
hurtling through space at 1,000,000 miles an hour crashes to
999
Earth. Debris is
hours
scattered
to
over
go.
a desolate landscape. The military moves in and retrieves the evidence, covering up their tracks. But this isn't a story about Roswell, New Mexico. It's a remote place called Height 611 in eastern Siberia, and Sightings is there to investigate. Many UFO sightings have occurred in clusters called flaps, and ufologists charge that military bases are the object of alien reconnaissance.
Oh, yeah.
Especially bases where nuclear weapons are stored.
Loch
In recent
Ness.
years, sightings have occurred near military installations in New Mexico.
I saw they're
Nevada, and
re-releasing
Florida. The U.S.
John
military
Tenta
base
as
in
the
Bentwaters,
Shark
England,
as a figure.
nuclear
Maybe we'll get
repository
more
for
done.
NATO,
And I've seen
was the
Zodiac.
site of a series of UFO
Maybe
sightings
we'll get
and
more
power
Dungeon of
outages
Doom.
over several days in late December 1980. We are now learning these encounters are not limited to the West. A series of sightings over the Siberian cities of Vladivostok and Dolnogorsk have some convinced that extraterrestrial spies are surreptitiously observing military installations in the former Soviet Union. Vladivostok is home to the Russian fleet, including nuclear-powered submarines.
It is a place where
Paris-
UFOs
oh, look at this guy.
are
It's
sighted
awesome,
very
man.
frequently, and where similar phenomenon occur.
Fantastic.
Alexander Rempel is president of the Vladivostok Association.
Looks like
of
he'd be the
Ufologists.
handyman on a
An engineer
sitcom,
and former
creepy
military
handyman.
officer, Rempel has amassed a catalog of local sightings.
Oh, wonderful.
This is a panoramic view of Vladivostok.
Looked like
in
RoboCop
broad
blew a load
daylight.
on that. Did you see it?
Engineer and former Rempel is president of the Vladivostok Association of Ufologists. An engineer and former military officer, Rempel has amassed a
at that.
catalog
What?
of local sightings.
This is a panoramic view of Vladivostok.
Yes,
In broad
Furface
daylight,
would be
people
awesome.
suddenly saw a bright flash up in the sky, and this glowing sphere rose up. One passerby had a camera and shot this object.
They did put out a great. They finally put out a great Muda
Photograph
in like
of
the
what appears
official
to be a
Mattel line.
strange three-toed footprint.
He must
was
have
shot
signed a
near
deal when he went into
Vladivostok
the Hall of
military
Fame.
installation.
It's taken a long time, but the figures are
The
finally out.
traces left by these unusual beings
Awesome
are
mustache,
found
indeed.
at the sites of
He's got. I thought he was
well-guarded
wearing a
military
Sightings
units.
T-shirt.
This is where radioactive waste from Russia is kept.
More jizz artwork. What's wrong with this
A
guy?
few miles away from Vladivostok, near the small mining town of Dolnogorsk, a UFO crashed on this hilltop in 1986. The site, known only by its height 611, is littered with strange debris and is considered to be one of the most significant UFO locations in all of Russia.
The sphere was red, it was flying straight and then sharply fell down.
I saw a fiery balloon fly from this site and fall there on this knoll.
After that, a fire started. It burned for 1 hour.
The first person to reach the scene was biologist and Academy of Sciences Meteorite Commission member Valery Duzhilny.
Something
Who?
was burning. This
Oh,
could have
look
been
at
a
this.
meteorite, but meteorites do not cause
Oh,
fires.
fantastic.
When I climbed up to this
Mr. Bond, you have underestimated me.
place,
Be a
the
great
snow was
Bond
deep.
villain.
There I saw a place which left a great impression on me. There was no snow, it just evaporated. I saw the remains of a burnt tree and the remains of metallic spheres.
Samples of charred metal gathered
shoot,
at the
hang
site
on, I gotta turn
attracted
that one
nationwide attention. Analysis was
Ugh,
done by
I've gotta
Russia's
get some
most
good pipe
prestigious
cleaners today.
academies.
Whatever remained at the site itself had such unusual properties that when
Paul Stonehill, head of the Russian Ufology Research Center headquartered in the United States, has examined many of the samples from Height 611.
the mesh itself had something very strange, very unusual, tiny filaments. And
Oh
inside
man, this is unrelated, but they did Healthy Family Force just posted a video. We're definitely going to review it sometime. Joy discusses her military background, almost half an hour. Kino.
those filaments, quartz filaments, one could find yet other filaments or nettings, gold nettings, 7 microns thick. I mean, a human hair is 56 microns. Now, we have no technology to insert gold filaments of that size into quartz filaments.
Into
what
quartz.
they could be used
We
for
have no
remains
quartz
an
here
enigma.
in Dagestan.
It's an enigma that
No
continues
quartz.
to draw serious
What a great
attention
word.
from Russia's top
Quartz.
scientific researchers.
Their Academy of Sciences has had an ongoing public
Hey,
study of UFOs
George
since
Knapp.
the 1970s.
What the fuck, man?
George Knapp.
Didn't we see George Knapp in an earlier episode, or did we see him in this one and then it cut off? I can't remember. But George Knapp, what a get.
Knapp is an investigative journalist. He is frustrated by the seeming lack of interest in UFOs by American academics.
Here, the people like Carl Sagan say, you can't study UFOs. There's nothing to study. There's no physical evidence.
Well,
that's
take a look
baloney,
at
and the
these
Russians are
piles of
proving
burnt
that.
shit.
Their
and an
Academy
ear.
of Sciences, the most respected scientific organization in that nation, has been studying it for decades. They do what scientists are supposed to do. They take samples, they conduct experiments, they dig in the soil, they check for radiation, and they've come up with some fairly amazing results.
Knapp,
In
oh
the
man,
case
yeah,
of
dude, he's a
samples
big
collected
get
by
for the show. I think
scientists
he's
at
been on
Height
one other
611,
time.
The results are startling.
It could very well be physical evidence of an extraterrestrial origin. That was the conclusion of the initial scientific
It's really
team
cool
that
when
went
you
to
see
the
an
site.
expert
There
in
were
a field
strange
like pop
alloys
up
in
on
there that
Sightings.
couldn't be readily identified.
OG
Rare
shit.
earth metals in combinations that have never been seen of a natural origin.
Here we can see the results of our tests. The sample
Sorry, I
contains
drank
elements
like
such as lithium,
114
nickel, and some
grams of
others.
sugar this
But most importantly, it contains the elements promethium. The element promethium is artificial. It cannot be found on the Earth.
Human subject testing also took place. In a controlled study, physicians and medical researchers examined
Gets all
those
the
who
nap.
had worked at Height 611 in the days following the UFO incident.
Hey, there's that thing we saw earlier.
Samples of blood.
Oh,
blood
here we
pressure,
go.
and
Here's the Bond. Here's the lady that will seduce Bond when he comes to fight that guy. Dr. Tatiana Abonarskevich. Okay.
pulse were taken. For the
Abonarskevich.
group that went to the top of height 611, the number of red blood cells, the differential blood count was altered, and the amount of elements in the blood rose. In the meantime, the control group's blood test
I'm
stayed
getting really
normal.
frustrated with these pipe
I
cleaners.
believe that either alien machinery or a spaceship fell down and crashed. I think that otherwise it cannot be explained.
Doctors and researchers inside Russia continue their investigation, while a handful of American experts are still having difficulty convincing our own scientists of the importance of Height 611.
Height 611 is extremely important to pay attention to. I'm glad that somebody actually went to that Height 611 and brought out the information, because the heights we could reach with that information are still unknown to us.
Our crew returned with this microscopic metal fragment entrusted to us by our Russian contacts. Analysis of this crucial bit of evidence will take many months. We'll bring you the results of our...
The weed that I smoke, I don't know if it's because it's indica or what the deal is, but like a lot of the weed that I smoke will like super clog a pipe, like super quick. And so since I don't have good pipe cleaners, it seems like it's wanting me to clean it like just constantly, and it's too much. Quartz. That's how I should calm myself down. Quartz.
Next, an unusual connection between a dolphin and a little boy
This is going to be
brings about
just
a medical
fantastic
miracle.
to swim with
They were like
dolphins.
soulmates. They bonded and they just connected.
Well, if you remember, Hank Hill had an encounter with a dolphin, and dolphins are known for being like, you know, sexually predatory. I don't know if this is a good idea.
As recently as 20 years ago, children with Down syndrome were considered hopeless cases. Doctors routinely recommended that the children be placed in institutions so their parents could get on with their lives.
Wow,
Today,
what a
parents of Down
statement
institutions, hopeless cases. Doctors routinely recommended that the children be placed in institutions so their parents could get on with their lives.
Wow.
Today, parents of Down syndrome children are getting on with their lives by keeping their children at home and exploring alternative therapies. In one unique program, they're getting
phrasing on
astonishing
that.
results. They are an unlikely breed of therapist. Dolphins who swim freely yet seek out the company of humans, especially humans in need. No one knows why a unique bond exists between people and these aquatic mammals, but it's there, and its effect is measurable.
I think the reason that dolphins are interested in human beings is because they're very intelligent, and there's a
Man.
real sensitivity that they...
If you guys have never seen it, there's just this fantastic movie, and it's called The Day of the Dolphin. Fantastic movie. It's got George C. Scott in it. He's investigating because they finally cracked the code on how to interpret what dolphins are saying, and they're actually plotting to assassinate government leaders. The dolphins in the movie are. It's really strange, but it's really interesting.
Seem to have.
Dr. David Nathanson is a psychologist who has found that dolphin-assisted therapy is a powerful
Swim
tool
with
for
sharks,
teaching
yeah.
neurologically impaired children.
About 15 years ago, I was very interested in taking a look at doing some research with
I like this guy.
animals and children,
Like this
because
shirt.
I've worked with disabled kids for about 30 years. And there are three things that they seem to be most interested in: animals, music, and water. Animal-assisted therapy.
We saw this
generally,
story,
if it's
right, a
done
long time
properly
ago?
by experienced
The dog
people
that
with
saved the kid's
gentle
life?
Animals is very effective, but dolphins are especially helpful because the additional dimension of being in warm water and the fact that the dolphins are so intelligent and sensitive makes it almost kind of the optimum environment for healing.
Kathy Anderson already had two children, Mia and Andrea, when her son, Dean Paul, was born.
When Dean Paul was first born, the feelings
Don't let
were
Sylvester Stallone do the dolphins.
very mixed. I knew immediately as soon as I held him that he had Down syndrome. It was kind of a scary feeling, but then I also knew that
I am, for some reason, this is going to sound really strange, but I mean, remember, I had a lot of sugar and I'm pretty high, but I imagined Sylvester Stallone, when you said that, not doing anything inappropriate in a sexual way, but I imagined him as a superhero whose superpower is that he can immediately summon up to 2 dolphins at a time, but they're kind of like meeseeks. He can't just keep producing them, like it'll cause problems, so he has to like he just uses them as like weapons, essentially.
somehow, some way, everything was really going to be all right.
Rex, the hero
He
dog.
wasn't like a normal baby. He cried, but he didn't. That's about it. He didn't make any noise.
Is that too much, you think, for a
He was
modern
more like a doll than anything else.
Cape Kino
Down
audience?
syndrome is a congenital disorder in which there is an extra chromosome present in each cell of the body. The condition causes toxins to build
Like, for
up
example, let's say I'm imagining like he's a big guy, so he's in great shape, but he doesn't have any like additional speed bonuses or anything, so he's not exactly fast, but like say he's kind of in traffic chasing a car on foot or a motorcycle, and he can't quite get to him. He keeps coming up just short, so finally he just like summons a dolphin and then just like swings it over his head and brings it down like a hammer on top of the guy that's on the motorcycle, and like the dolphin just explodes all over everyone in traffic.
between the brain and the skull. As a result, the brain cannot grow to full size.
Most kids with Down syndrome are in the moderate range of mental retardation. Some are in the mild range, some are in the severe range.
When Dean Paul was first born, the doctors said that he would be
Or he said he could throw a dolphin at a helicopter and like blow the helicopter up.
If we were lucky, he would eventually
That's the kind of films I want to see. I think that's how you
dress
get people
himself
back into
and
the
maybe
theaters.
be able to feed himself.
Kathy refused to accept the dismal prognosis offered by Dean Paul's doctors. The whole family worked tirelessly to try and motivate Dean Paul's progress using traditional therapy techniques. But even after 2.5 years, it seemed that it would take nothing short of a miracle to elicit even one word from the struggling toddler. Then Kathy Anderson found her miracle, gracefully swimming circles in the dolphin tank at the local zoo.
I mean, it's hard to knock this if it did any good for this kid. You know what I mean? Like if it was a positive experience, it's hard to knock it. But at the same time, like I don't know. I want to know what's the if they're letting him do it for free. I have a much different view on it. You know what I mean? But again, it's hard to say anything negative because anything that could enhance this kid's life is hard to criticize.
Because they had just opened their Aquatica show, and since I love dolphins, I was going to go see it, and he was going with us. We got into the dolphin show, and he sat up straight, his eyes flew open, and his mouth just gaped, and he didn't take his eyes off the dolphins. I was amazed.
So he connected
he had never paid that much
immediately, even
attention
from
to anything, and for that long a period of time.
Indirect contact.
He went up after the show when they were feeding the dolphins. And there was a lot of other little kids there, but he just stood and just stared at the dolphins.
Yeah, that's what
and
I
came
mean,
right
like-
to him. They didn't get us their food or.
Oh no, I'm sorry. I fucked up. I hit the wrong thing again. Let me take it back.
Mouth just gaped, and he.
I feel like the people that are in the Sally house, most of them, they understand what's going on, and they want the publicity or they want something to make themselves, they're projecting to make themselves feel better or whatever. But like this is, I don't think there's a lot of like deceit in this situation. I don't think the kid's lying. So even if it is kind of a grift, I mean, if it does good for him, then well, I mean, if it does good for him, it might be like a grift that accidentally works.
He didn't take his eyes off the dolphins. I was amazed. He had never paid that much attention to anything, and for that long a period of time.
He went up after the show when they were feeding the dolphins.
Oh.
And there was a lot of.
Like, okay, I guess we'll find this out, but are you guys assuming that, like, they're going to, like, SeaWorld? Because SeaWorld would, I guess, though, you might have to pay for, okay, what if all the mom is doing is just paying for, like, the dolphin swim, like a normal retail interaction?
Other little kids
there's
there,
nothing
but
wrong
he
with
stood
that, I
and
don't
just
think.
stared at the dolphins, and they came right to him. They didn't get us their food.
Well, I've retired Thorpe Alert, ATF Media, but you'll still have to see the rest of the gang.
Or they wanted to play with Dean Paul, and they were talking to him and splashing him, and I remember the smiling gone on his face.
It was a breakthrough moment that would eventually lead Kathy and Dean Paul to Dr. Nathanson and his Dolphin project in
Mother
Miami,
seeks
Florida.
dolphin.
Dr. Nathanson told me at the time that we talked
Love
on the
it.
phone
That's a thumbnail.
that he was seeing sometimes as much as 10 times the learning abilities and speed with the children that he worked with. And he was seeing great strides with kids with Down syndrome in their communications and speech development. which of course Dean Paul was really.
I don't know, man. I couldn't.
Behind
I don't
him.
think I could swim with a
With just
dolphin.
a
I feel
glimmer
like
of hope
the
that Dean
feeling
Paul
of them
might
would be
benefit from
disgusting.
dolphin therapy the way other children with Down syndrome
Great,
had.
that is a pretty
the
bad
Andersons
haircut.
left for Florida.
There were two problems with Dean Paul.
I won't ATF
one
Media.
was that he
In
was
fact, ATF Media, I'm gonna go to a local. I'm gonna try to find like a local place like that Tony Yeoman would go to and get some catfish and homemade French fries for a taste test.
withdrawn. And the second is that his language was severely delayed. In Dean Paul's
Remember,
case,
they
he
should get
loved the
George
water,
Kennedy to play
and he
this guy
loved
in
working
when they
with
make
the
a movie
Dolphins.
about
They
this.
wouldn't let Dean Paul interact the way he wanted to.
Okay, maybe I'm way off base here, okay? But is there anyone on Earth better suited to tell this story in a major motion picture than myself?
Unless he tried much harder. So he was highly motivated. He paid attention beautifully. And as a result, his language started to improve, his confidence started to improve, and he got to go in the water a lot more. And this was very important.
Oh, I
to
never
him.
noticed the rat
First time
tail.
Dean Paul had therapy, the dolphins just went crazy. They just were jumping and screeching and yelling at him. It was like he had come home. He wasn't home now.
What was it about Dean Paul that drew the
Mercedes
dolphins to
Grace.
him and allowed him to utter his very first sounds?
Yeah,
Within
oh
less
yeah,
than
I
20
forgot all
minutes, he
about
was
that.
working with
That's
the
me.
dolphins.
Yeah, let me...
And just having a great time at it. He became immediately more verbal.
Oh, shoot,
His
I don't have it in here. Let me
vocalizations of any
screenshot
sound
this.
were
I want to
welcome.
check,
I
yeah,
knew he had
definitely.
the capability of sound. Now he was using it, and he was using it for...
I remember, of course, we watched it. He was in the very first Boyd show that we did. But I know that after the video we watched, where he finally lost his broke his dry spell after like 30 years or whatever, he was, people sent wellness checks to him, and I think he got arrested not too long after that.
Communication.
In the months that
Randy
followed,
Wanzer,
Dean
what's
Paul
up, buddy?
literally came alive. The dolphins were succeeding where science had largely failed. The little boy who couldn't talk or run or swim disappeared, and the real Dean Paul was emerging.
Showed him picture boards, and then he was to make an attempt to identify the picture. If he identified it correctly, then he could give a signal to the dolphins.
Randy, I
or
think
have
you'll
a
like the
swim.
stream tomorrow, man, if you can make
He
it.
progressed
I
so
think you'll really
rapidly
like the
that
first
soon
half anyway. Maybe
he
not
was
the second
in the
half.
water doing his picture boards
As
from
much.
the water, and would do 5 to 10 of them before he had to have his reward.
In general, I think animals can sometimes reach
See,
people
George
when
Kennedy
people
would be
can't reach
perfect,
them.
right? Well,
And
he's
that kind
dead,
of
though.
unconditional love and interest in the child
Colin
is
Mockery?
Don't forget, if you're a child with a disability, let's say Down syndrome, and you're walking in the supermarket, some people are friendly, some people are not friendly, just on the basis of how you look. That doesn't matter to the dolphins.
But the bond between Dean Paul and the dolphins transcended
Paul.
unconditional love. It went even deeper than that.
Is he still alive?
Especially with one dolphin named B.
The experience that Dean Paul had with B
I'd like to purchase
was
the
incredible
story,
to
the
me.
rights
They
to
bonded
make a film
immediately.
based
Got
on
to
his
the point
life.
that he couldn't even do therapy with her
Get
because she
Jim-
would
well,
just
he's
take
dead
him
too,
away
isn't he? Jimmy
and
Buffett.
take him out to the middle of the pool and just stay there.
Dean Paul's relationship with B
Would it be
was-
controversial if I
was
played all the
maternal.
roles?
They bonded and they just
I'll
connected.
do like an
It
Eddie
was-
Murphy.
They were like soulmates.
B then became
This is why I'll
very
never
ill
be allowed to make a movie.
after we'd moved to Miami. And she would only come up to the front of the pool when Dean Paul was there. Then one day she didn't come up to the front of the pool.
2 nights later, Kathy was awakened in the middle of the night.
Dean Paul had been sound asleep. He sat straight up in bed and said, "Oh, my B," and climbed out of his bed and raced to the front door calling for B. Just, "Oh, B,
It's the
B."
they should just
After
give
I took
the
him to
kid the
school the next
dolphin.
morning, I got a phone call that B had died in the night. And knew then that she had
Oh,
died
look at that,
that
south
time.
to west.
While children like Dean Paul
Yeah,
were
like in The Nutty
considered
Professor.
disabled,
I'll
they
play
also
the
seem to have
dolphin.
a singular ability to understand and
The
communicate.
dolphin will
with
be
these
like a
silent,
funny,
gentle
like
sea
Disney type
creatures.
character.
Dean Paul attended dolphin-assisted therapy weekly for 3
He's
years.
resistant to
and
working
as a
with
result,
children at the
he now
beginning of the
has
story, but
near-normal
eventually
skills
they
in cognitive
bond.
and neuromotor areas.
I feel that Dean Paul has progressed past the normal mold that we
Oh,
put
look at that.
kids with Down syndrome in.
Man, he is. Look at him
If you
zoned
see him
in.
out on the
Whoa,
playground,
whoa.
you can't tell Dean Paul from any of the other kids.
Before he met the
But a
dolphin,
natural
he
disaster
wasn't doing
brought
anything.
Dean Paul's therapy
Now
to an
he's
abrupt
spinning.
end when Hurricane Andrew forced the Andersons to move back to Enid, Oklahoma.
Oh no.
Dean Paul hasn't been with dolphins for almost 2 years now. and he cries for them often.
The realities of...
Do you think that dolphin therapy is kind of like psychedelic therapy, and that you don't actually need to do it like all the time? Like you can just go see a dolphin and then like you're good for, it'll improve your, you know, you've got a few months or something.
Life have severed the loving bond that Dean Paul once shared with his dolphin therapists. The dolphin's unique role in his learning experience has no human counterpart and simply can't be replaced. When we return, Dean Paul will once again swim with the dolphins for the first time in almost 2 years.
Perfect segment.
When Sightings returns, doctors begin to understand the mysterious connection between
we
Dean
get a
Paul
whole
and
nother
the
segment
dolphins
about it.
that transformed his life.
Yeah, goats, that's true.
Sightings wanted to know if Dean...
Yeah, like literally, I don't know why that. I definitely don't question it, because that is true. Like I always, like if I go to see if I go to feed the goats, or I go to see the base geese or whatever, like I'm always like feel better from doing that.
Paul Anderson's amazing success could be documented scientifically.
Didn't he run for president?
We brought together the Andersons and the Aquathought Foundation.
What's the guy's name?
That's a research
Aquathought.
organization which studies the effects of dolphin interaction
What
on
was
humans.
the guy's name?
We
Dean
sponsored the trip
something?
for scientific reasons.
He was 38
but the
years old.
rewards came straight from the heart.
Dean Paul. There you go.
The remarkable progress of Dean Paul.
Maybe you're thinking of a combination of Howard Dean and Ron Paul. Isn't Howard Dean a crazy example of how much our society has, well, here in America anyway, has shifted? There was a time when if you made a goofy noise during a political speech, it was the end of your, basically the end of any real like ambition you could have as a politician. Like that's all it would take. It's just like making a weird noise and you were cooked, or taking an awkward photo, like you were completely cooked. It's wild that it used to be that way.
Anderson has been studied and analyzed by psychologists and physicians around the world.
Howard Dean.
But unfortunate circumstances have prevented Dean Paul
He did
from
that
having
Tony
any dolphin
Yeoman type
contact
sound
for over 2 years.
He surrounded himself with his dolphins.
He was like, we're going to go down to Connecticut. We're going to go to Florida. We're going to go to wherever.
Pictures early on, but then took them all down. And I said, why have you taken your pictures down? He said,
hold on a second. I'm sorry. I'm now that I've heard it, we just got to watch it real quick. Dukakis in the tank. Exactly. One picture. That's it. Then you're cooked. Okay, hang on. Here we go. I think I got it.
You know something? You know something?
Like he was, if you don't remember this guy, he was doing like pretty good. Wouldn't call him the front runner, but he was doing well. And then this just completely fucked him.
If you had told us 1 year ago that we were going to come in third in Iowa, we would have given anything for that. And you know something? You know something? Not only are we going to New Hampshire, Tom Harkin, we're going to South Carolina and Oklahoma and Arizona and North Dakota and New Mexico. And we're going to California and Texas and New York. And we're going to South Dakota and Oregon and Washington and Michigan. And then we're going to Washington, D.C. to take back the White House. Ah!
That's it. That's it. That's it. That's the whole thing. That's what he did. And it was the end. He was done. Within 24 hours, this guy was done. Can you believe that?
D.C. to take back the White House. Ah!
That's it.
We're going to Washington, D.C. to take back the White House. Ah!
Like it's insanity. What's up, JF? What's up, Anand? He's still around.
I just miss them too much.
Sightings arranged for the Andersons to visit a
What a
facility
what a
in
crazy
Cancun,
world we
Mexico
live
called
in, man.
Scarret. The dolphins at Scarret are not involved in dolphin-assisted therapy.
Also, listen, I can't keep going to my... there's so many great, weird political speeches that I love, but if you ever get bored, look up John Kerry's talk to Congress or whoever about the Vietnam War. There's a great segment in it, a great clip in it where he's like talking about the things that he was seeing. He was like, we saw people that were walking around lopping off heads chopping off limbs in a fashion reminiscent of Genghis Khan. It's like a really Kino clip.
But do
That was
interact
like
with humans
Genghis
on a regular
Khan too.
basis. Our goal was
Cutting
to try
off
to
arms,
document
lopping
any
off
measurable
heads
effects
in a
when these
fashion
new,
reminiscent of
unfamiliar
Genghis
dolphins
Khan.
met Dean Paul.
What we're trying to find is some sort of explanation
Media
of
hit
why
piece, yeah.
there's a perceived healing phenomenon.
Oh, look at this guy.
By the humans after interacting with dolphins.
It's like an
David Warner is a neuroscientist at Loma Linda.
He kind of looks. Remember the guy on Seinfeld that they thought was doing cocaine because he kept sniffing? That's who it reminds me of.
University Medical Center and a researcher with the Aquathought
One
Foundation,
yell.
a non-profit organization which studies the as yet unexplained link between
Gary Hart,
dolphins,
he took that
healing,
picture
and their
with what's her
beneficial
name?
effects
I
on the
can't
human
remember what her
brain.
name is now,
I would
but
say that
cooked him, and
Dean Paul's
he was a real
interaction,
powerhouse.
with the dolphins has profoundly altered his course. My personal opinion is that there are several factors involved here. One is just the pure stimulation of being in the water with a large intelligent mammal.
To document Dean Paul's encounter with the dolphins in Cancun, Aquathought researcher and computer
Oh,
specialist
damn, man. He went to Cancun? Wow.
David Cole accompanied our sightings team to Mexico.
Man, what a
Do
place.
a couple of things for me, okay? Just breathe real. We take
Just
electroencephalographic
feeling
information
it all the time.
from 16 points on the scalp, and then it's visualized using the mindset.
Donna
product.
Rice, there you go, yep.
And our visualization.
And if you ever want to learn, it's a biased take, of course, but Hugh Jackman made a movie where he played Gary Hart. I thought it was a pretty good movie. Oh, I can't remember the name of it though.
Takes the electrical information
Donna Rice,
and
what a
relates
piece
it
back in the
to
day.
a picture of Dean Paul's brain. So we have a
Before he even sees the dolphins, a detailed recording is made of Dean Paul's brain waves. This information will later be compared to recordings made after his dolphin swim. It's an attempt to quantify what everyone on our team experienced emotionally when Dean Paul began his swim.
Why do I
Dean
think these are
Paul.
Dr. Dolphins?
Hooah!
When you have, for instance, a child like Dean Paul in the water.
We're gonna
with
get
his
this
mother,
kid in the water with a
take look
dolphin,
at the
with an
way the
orca,
dolphins
with a
behave.
sea
They're
lion,
genuinely
with a
interested in
seahorse,
him,
and then
I
we're gonna
think that
go
they
out
have
to
the
the Pacific
potential
Ocean, and we're gonna
of
find
sensing his
Galapagos
disorder.
tortoises.
When studying the literature, one finds a common phenomena reported in that the dolphins, when interacting with children, are gentler. They seem to recognize that this is a more fragile individual.
I feel like YouTube is suppressing my short from this morning. I know that it's just like a chick bending over, but I think it's pretty rude.
The hypothesis.
Speaking of chicks bending over, Flexum, my what do you call it? My gifted sub runs out to her. My gifted membership runs out to her. I'm gonna clip one video on my way out, but that's it.
This is that the dolphin identifies the difference in the child that is ill.
Hey, Cody
and
Church,
seeks
right
out,
here, just in time for
an
the
interaction
Flexum
with that
update.
child
Hey,
for
Ronald.
what only the dolphins really know.
What we're seeing here is Dean Paul's brainwave activity before he entered the water with the dolphins.
Hey, Vinny Slugga's dad had a real health scare recently. ATF.
Is
and Vinny himself came out
high-speed
gay.
brainwaves. This
Came out as
relates
gay,
to
so
a state of
he's got a lot
consciousness
going on.
which is not conducive to efficient learning. Mindset is showing us
Although
an increased
he
amount
hasn't
of
shown
warmer
any
colors
interest in
Dean
smashing
Paul's
anyone on
brainwave
Void
activity
Watch.
after swimming with dolphins. This definitely would indicate a more conducive state for healing and learning.
Dolphins use a complicated echolocation sonar system to help them maneuver through the
The melon.
water. It's a natural form of radar. Dolphins are able to send out sound waves that travel through the water and bounce off objects in their path. The returning sound waves allow the dolphins to create a mental
I don't know
picture of
anybody
an
else that goes through a drive-through with their
because the
dad.
human body is
Ben and
mostly
Grace
water,
can't afford
a
fast food.
dolphin's echolocator is able to pick up the images of a person's internal organs, their bones, and their brain.
The dolphin echolocation energy, which can be quite
That
intense,
dolphin would like to
is
feed on
strong
bone
enough to
marrow.
make changes in the body, actually at the level of the cells.
Tune
For
in
some
tomorrow. I
reason,
think
those
it'll be good.
physiological changes push the organism, in this case the human being, into a state of
I'll give an
better
update
health.
about it.
The
We're
universal
almost at
pleasure
the end of
that
the
we see
episode,
in
and
the
I'll talk a
children
little
that
bit
do
about it.
experience this is quite profound. So even if scientifically we're running up a dead end, behaviorally we're dead on track.
If we can prove something definitively that being in the water with a dolphin affects your brain in a way that's
guy's
potentially beneficial, then we've opened the door to serious research.
For now, the
He looks
proof
like
is in the child. He was never supposed
not
to
his hair
speak
so much,
or
but his
laugh
face
or
kind of looks
play.
like the
But
friend
Dean Paul
from
does all
just
that
one of the
now
guys.
and
Remember
more.
that movie? That
Science
movie was
may
pretty
not know
keen.
why, but the Andersons do. They call it dolphin magic.
Dolphin magic.
Kathy Anderson reports that since Dean Paul's return from Cancun, his comprehension and retention skills in school have dramatically increased.
I watched
Kathy
some of
reports
Slammiversary.
It's as if everything just clicked.
Goes all the way to McDonald's. Yeah, that's true.
If you've had
Well,
a
that was a
paranormal
real
experience, call the
heartwarming
Sightings
segment,
hotline
so
at
parlay that right in to give us
1-900-933-SIGHT.
money.
That's 1-900-933-7444. Each call 65 cents a minute. Average call lasts 3 minutes. Sightings is also online. Our email address is sightings@aol.com.
What a heartwarming segment.
Until next time, remember, no mystery is closed to an open mind. For Sightings, I'm Tim White.
So tomorrow, I just, as a real quick before we move on to the next episode, so tomorrow's thing is 4 stories, and it's just 4 things that I've been wanting to talk about, but there's really nowhere to fit them together. So we're just gonna do them all. I'm just gonna do an anthology, but the first one is gonna be I don't know if you guys have been following at all. This guy Gaiman for Hope. I've talked about him a little bit, but Chud Logic has been like deep diving him lately. But he made some people in the chat were trolling him, and he made this entire video about all these allegations that people made against him, which were, of course, just troll, you know, trying to rile him up. But he made an entire video about it. I want to cover that. Each one is like half an hour long. So there's like, then I want to do the complete story so far of Gilbert Ordonez, the homeless guy that lives on the Heathens block. Then we're going to watch a half-hour Instagram live from Coco Star, the OF girl. She did like a I don't know, they have like those, I would call them like a waiting room stream, but this one kind of went, it's almost like, honestly, like it's like a found footage horror movie, but there's no horror, but like it's the kind of thing where you're like waiting for something. It's like a really creepy, the way that it's shot and everything. And then Jimmy has a really long video I've been wanting to watch too. And I feel like thematically they all kind of tie together. But it's just like 4 things that I really couldn't fit anywhere else. But I think it'll all be pretty interesting. Hopefully.
Next on Sci-Fi, The Sentinel.
The Sentinel. Thank you, Henry Winkler.
On this edition of Sightings, 20 years ago, a military...
So this is Season 3, Episode 10. UFO Mansfield. Ooh, there's a Ruby SpaceX coded. Bodega Bay Ghost. Space Encounters and Prophecies.
A helicopter was attacked by an unknown craft in the skies above Cleveland, Ohio.
It didn't have any wings. It didn't have any windows.
Yeah.
After 2 decades, those involved still want to...
I thought about doing a whole video about Jimmy, but I couldn't really find he's on a few different arcs, and it was hard to put enough together. But all 4 of these are really nice self-contained stories that are really interesting. I've been wanting to watch that Coco Star waiting room one forever. It is so strange to me, but I think it'll be a good time.
Answers.
Plus the Heathen.
That it was still a UFO.
Then, did
all that
Hitchcock
regular
shoot his
ticket
masterpiece
prices.
of terror at a haunted location?
It was disturbingly populated, and there was nobody there.
Plus, this man's dreams may solve a double homicide.
Oh boy.
They were telling me who did it.
Later, a prophecy of hope. And astronauts describe their encounters in space.
Yeah, it's stuff that it's really weird, but I'm really stuck on on these 4 stories going together. But yeah, it's stuff that I couldn't really fit on there. It wouldn't seem right on Boyd Watch Live because they are kind of like, each one is like kind of a self-contained story, but. Weren't there multiple episodes of Ghost Rape? I think after Sightings, I don't know that we'll go right into it, but I think we have a bunch of In Search Ofs we can watch.
Welcome to Sightings. I'm Tim White. Virtually unknown by all but the most dedicated ufologists, a confirmed sighting in Mansfield, Ohio may be the most significant UFO encounter to date. Why isn't Mansfield, Ohio in the pantheon of UFO hotspots? because the key witnesses wouldn't, or were instructed not to, talk publicly. Until now. It was October 1973. A Cleveland, Ohio police detective asked his partner to meet him in an interrogation room. The cop wanted to make a report about the strangest thing that had ever happened to him, and he wanted it on tape.
Today is October the 19th, 1973, and the time is approximately 2 p.m. I have with me in my office at the present time Detective John Healy. Healy's going to describe in his own way of an incident that had occurred last night.
Okay, we left Port Columbus Airport at 10:30 last night. And about 11 o'clock, which is halfway...
The tape you are listening to is an important historical document. It is a permanent record of a UFO encounter.
Remember when we listened to the Gary Sudbrink tapes like a year ago? Those were so bizarre. Those tapes freaked me out.
That occurred on the night of October 18th, 1973, as witnessed by Detective
And we listened
John
to Mel
Healy.
Gibson's phone calls to his wife on the same episode.
Red light on its nose. It was cigar-shaped and had a green light shining down out of the aft end.
When Detective Healy wasn't on the beat, he was an Army Reserve medic. On the night in question, Healy and 3 other reservists were returning to Cleveland via helicopter from their annual Army physical. Over the town of Mansfield, Ohio, all 4 men made contact with a UFO. Detective Healy now speaks publicly about the incident for the first time in 20 years.
We were almost involved in a midair collision with an object that was coming out of
Where'd
the
they
east,
say this is?
heading west
Mansfield,
toward us.
Ohio? Hold on, I'm gonna look up see how
noticed
far
a
away
red light
Mansfield, Ohio is.
on our port side going south. It was a big red light, but I didn't think anything of it. I thought it would be the...
Wonder if Vinny's ever had a UFO
the
encounter.
port wing of another aircraft. We saw it kept coming at us, and it was a clear night, unlimited visibility. It didn't have any wings. It didn't have any windows.
Oh, okay. That's kind
as
of
you would see
interesting. October the 18th of 2023 was the 50-year anniversary of the Mansfield UFO encounter. And it is considered to this day to be the best documented UFO in history. Also, unrelated, but Mansfield, Ohio is sometimes called Danger City. That's amazing. What a great nickname. Due to its relatively high crime rates, particularly when compared to the national average. While Mansfield also has, this is very interesting, also has the nickname the Fun Center of Ohio. So it's known as Danger City because of its high crime, but it's also known as the Fun Center. And they are also known as the Carousel Capital of Ohio. So there you go, a little Mansfield lore for you.
on a conventional aircraft.
Then he would
was
tape
not
it in
the only
8K,
witness.
probably knowing him.
All 4 crew members saw the UFO.
He filmed the cops
and
the other
pilots
day.
filed official military reports
Cracked me up.
detailing their versions of the near-deadly UFO encounter.
Finally,
But
the
Healy
police
is the
show
only
up.
one who, 2 decades later, is willing to speak out. He described for Sightings what all 4 crew members attested to when they signed this affidavit.
This was an object that moved at a very fast rate of speed. It saw us probably before we saw it. It just tracked us because we had all our navigation lights on and running and blinking. And then it started back toward us again. Maybe it had never seen a helicopter at night.
The UFO appeared to be threatening the helicopter, maneuvering toward it on a collision course.
The pilot was flying in the right seat. He had to take the controls and he put the helicopter into a dive.
Oh no, this is so very stressful. Oh shit.
After narrowly avoiding a mid-air crash, the pilot took evasive action, diving at a rate of 2,000 feet per minute. At 1,700 feet, the helicopter was suddenly paralyzed, even though the controls were still in a dive configuration. The UFO cast an ominous greenish light over the helicopter.
This was just a humongous green light just shining down on us in a very definite cone shape. You could look at the light and you could actually see the beam of the light.
What?
The pilot tried to dive.
Okay,
but
so he's saying they're in
instead
like a
started to
tractor
rise.
beam?
It seemed that the UFO was pulling the helicopter toward it, overriding the aircraft's controls.
This is how they got on the Death Star,
In regards to our
remember?
aircraft climbing while it was
Where's
in a
Randy
dive
Quaid?
configuration, I didn't feel us being pulled up as in an elevator or a roller coaster. You don't feel the G-force of a diver or climber. I didn't feel that. It scanned us for that instant that it hesitated over us. It scanned us.
Oh, it's scanning.
Then it took off.
After the object went off to the west, the helicopter pilot noted that although he had been in a descent and his controls were in the configuration for a descent, the helicopter had actually risen to 3,800 feet.
Jenny Zeidman was part of a research team from CUFOS, the Center for UFO Studies, that investigated the Mansfield encounter for more than 3 years. The interviews, military reports, and diagrams compiled by CUFOS
Well, here we got a lot of good
Mansfield
documentation
one of the
on
most
this.
well-documented UFO encounters ever.
My analysis of this case
As long as we've got a voucher.
showed that the object was under continual observation for 5 minutes, perhaps even more.
Despite the impeccable credentials of the 4 military men, the Center for UFO Studies searched for ground eyewitnesses that could corroborate the sighting, and they found them. The DeLong family was driving on the outskirts of Mansfield when they saw a helicopter hovering in the wake of a UFO.
Oh, no.
The kids kept hollering. They wanted to stop. They wanted to
Hi, Irma. Could you do me a favor? We could do this in your living room, but would you mind going out and leaning up against a tree like you're taking a senior picture?
stop.
She finally stopped the car, and I jumped out. I remember
This is amazing that they're interviewing everybody
the whole top
outdoors.
Of the
I
sky
love
was
it.
lit up a dull fluorescent green.
I looked out, and the helicopter was just
Was that the
sitting
guy
there in
from
midair with this object over
Prison Break? I can't remember his
And
name.
to
He was
be
like
honest,
that
it
weird
scared me.
southern
I
pervert.
was scared at that time, but it didn't sink in that it was still really something, a UFO.
The DeLongs were interviewed 3 years after the fact by Warren Nicholson, director of the Civil Commission on Aerial Phenomena. He grilled the family about what they had seen.
I was a little bit doubtful at first that maybe they had just read the story in the newspaper, but
This is Jack
they knew
Nicholson's
things that hadn't been in the article. From the multiple interviews we had with them, you could tell that they were scared.
This brought together 2 groups of witnesses. It established the
Yes.
exact location of the event.
That was a
We were
really
able to-
that guy, like, it to me is one of the very few characters, like, especially on a TV show, that legitimately was just like a really, really effective villain.
compute the flight path of the helicopter.
Legendary UFO researcher Dr. J. Allen Hynek compiled sketches of the event drawn by the flight crew and conducted in-depth interviews about every aspect of the encounter. At the same time, the military was conducting their own investigation. They ruled the incident a near miss with an unidentified craft.
I'll probably never talk about Prison Break again, but one of my favorite things about Prison Break is that every single episode, like, it had to end in some absolutely bananas cliffhanger where they painted themselves into a corner narratively, and there was no way they could get out of it. And then they would just ignore it at the beginning of the next episode. They'd be having some crazy situation, and they'd be like, I don't know how we're going to get out of this, buddy. And then the next episode, it's like, whew, glad we were able to get out of that.
Their findings were inconclusive in large part because the radio transmissions between the helicopter and the tower had mysteriously disappeared. Was the tape erased to cover up the encounter? Or could the UFO have intentionally obliterated the transmission? Coincidentally, many other onboard instruments continued to malfunction weeks.
Well, I don't know when we're going to talk about... I think that's the first time I've ever talked about Prison Break.
Even years after.
So, like, if we're on a topic already and there's, like, anything else of merit that I would like to say about it on the record, like, I just say it then.
The incident.
I've only retired one concept, thank
That
you.
was the aircraft we were in that night. She was never
Although
any good at-
technically I did remove the Aphrodite playlist, but that's only because I'm not going to probably clip a lot of Aphrodite moving forward. But, like, the reviews are still up. I agree. First season was great, yeah. They just like that helicopter, they were stuck in a downward descent for sure.
After that, she was the hangar queen.
Man, what about Sarah Tancredi though? Remember her? Man.
After that, they could.
Drug addicted,
The
bad
radios
girl,
would never work
nurse.
right. Navigation instruments, nothing.
The skeptics immediately
Thorpe
came up
alert,
with the
Prison
idea
Break,
that this
what's
was
next?
a meteor.
Dude, there is
Well, there's
so
no way this
much Thorpe coverage. My God. Like, there are daily video reviews now by, like, multiple people. There's, like, multiple clip channels now.
Could have been a meteor. It lasted for 5 minutes. No meteor takes 5 minutes to
But who's
cross the
covering the
sky from
heathen?
horizon to horizon. As far as I'm concerned, the case will not be concluded until we have identified this object.
But
Plus,
after
they have like
21
an
years,
official
the trail is growing cold.
archivist
The Mansfield
now.
UFO
Psychic
will never be
Spud.
investigated by our military the way Detective Healy once took for granted
The Spud
that it
era.
would be.
It's quite something. Anything further comes along, I'd just be interested in knowing.
Oh, no problem. We've got a reserve meeting the 3rd of November, and if nothing else, I'll find out how far the report's
Unbiased.
gone from there.
Well,
Thanks ever so much.
When Sightings continues, did Alfred Hitchcock know this movie location was haunted?
He would always choose places that would have a mystique about them.
I mean, we can still talk
Alfred
about
Hitchcock
them.
was film's
They're not like
undisputed
a,
master of
there's no
suspense. He
Voldemort
created
situation
some of
or anything.
Hollywood's
We're
most
not on
memorable
bad
moments
terms.
of terror. The shower scene in Psycho, the dizzying staircase in Vertigo, and the ominous ravens.
Don't say Thelma and
who perched
Louise.
atop
That's
a quaint
that's
schoolhouse in The
dangerously
Birds.
possible in
That
some
schoolhouse
cases.
wasn't a set. It was a real building in a real town, and the real family who lives there now believes that it's haunted.
Yeah, I mean, it's not a bridge burn. There may be like down the road, maybe something will happen. There's always like, there could always be like down the road, like a special on Kings. I'd still like to deep dive Kings, but I can't. I gotta put it out of my mind for a while.
People come here to see this building because that movie somehow affects them. I don't know. Maybe it's the idea of nature finally getting back.
I have to focus on the
human
films
beings.
of Uwe Ball.
It was sheer terror, created by the sheer genius of Alfred Hitchcock. He took a real schoolhouse in Bodega, California, and transformed it into a nightmare. But according to The Birds' leading lady, Tippi Hedren, Hitchcock chose the old schoolhouse for a reason.
He would always choose places that were of
They should
interest.
pay them a percentage. What makes you think that they're not now? You know what I mean?
And that would have a mystique.
There's always rumors of whatever, and I'm not saying just in the Thorpe world either, but like there are people who think some of the Dark Side Phil clippers and some of the Wings clippers are kicking up a little bit of money to stay, you know, not have any risk of getting reported or whatever.
About them. I mean, you looked at it up on that hill, and it was really quite
Broke Ben's heart. What a great story.
for almost a bit foreboding, but it was disturbingly populated, and there was nobody there.
Today, the movie crew and their make-believe world are lost.
And to be clear, no one has ever, any of the people that I've covered have never even like brought up anything like that. The only that kind of exception is that VP said that if I was literally restreaming her live and just letting people shit on her in the chat, that if I made like $100, then like, you know, we needed to talk or whatever. But that was only if I was restreaming it and I was just like basically letting it be a room for like people to shit on her. You know what I mean? Other than that, I've never had anybody even bring up money.
Long gone. But some people believe that the inexplicable force that once drew Hitchcock here is still at work and stronger than ever.
The Ben
there
Wilson
are,
RV debate. Oh my gosh.
Bumps on the wall, voices in the hallway, sounds on the stairs. Sometimes I hear
It's
a
still
woman
up. I
singing.
mean, if you were watching
Or
it,
maybe
it should
it's a little
it should
girl.
let you finish watching
The
it.
sounds of childhood have been heard in the schoolhouse since it was built in 1873, and not much in Bodega has changed since then.
First thing we did, we'd get in lines out in front of the school and pledge allegiance to the flag.
It was called the Potter School, and for 85 years it educated the town's children, and the upstairs meeting room also served as the community's social center.
They used to hold plays upstairs, and they'd have dances and things like that, and then kind of dwindled down.
But in 1962, the county declared the Potter School unsafe.
I mean,
and
you
closed
can.
it down. The children were moved to a new, more modern school. But strange phenomena around...
I mean, I don't think anybody... I mean, there's a difference between, like, just, like, criticizing what happens in the videos and, like, just, like, just, like, spamming and, you know... There's a difference between, like, shitting on somebody and then, like, shitting on somebody.
Around the building suggests some of the students didn't want to leave their alma mater.
I was alone.
Ben
I was
versus
working
Vegan
at the
Gains.
Typewriter. There was a slow rap
I'm trying to think
on the kitchen
how long
door
ago was that?
upstairs. And
Was that when I think the only time I've ever seen Vegan Gains on with the Thorpes was whenever I think Vegan Gains just joined a random stream one time, kind of out of nowhere.
I stopped typing, and then I saw the doorknob turn.
I heard kids playing in the schoolyard, and it didn't faze me at all because I'm a teacher and I'm so familiar with that sound. And of course, I knew that there were no children here and hadn't been for a long time.
I think if you give money, if there's a financial element to it, it's whatever. But like that should be known. You know, like you should say like, hey, this percentage is going to whoever. Because ultimately, like, how can you, if you're, and again, no, I'm an idiot, right? I'm an idiot when it comes to this stuff. But like, how can people trust you to do commentary unless you're just, you know, just a complete snark or whatever? But like, how could anybody trust you to accurately do that stuff if it's financially beneficial to you to alter your coverage one way or the other? You know what I mean?
The Potter School has been lovingly restored by the Taylor family. And since 1970, 3 generations of Taylors have called the old school.
There we go. I think I saw that then.
And everyone who has lived here has had their own ghostly encounter.
When I was 12, I was sat on scaffolding 5 tiers high. And
Does that kid need to see a dolphin to help with the ghost trauma?
And
VP is a top tier
yapper. It was
yapper.
very spooky.
After we were here.
Oh my God, too. I'm so pissed. I had 10 hours of VP stuff, and she puts her stuff behind a paywall as soon as it's done being live normally. And I deleted 10 hours of footage by accident.
Sounds and steps and things that were all friendly. The clearest thing that I've heard here is right up here in the room over by the stairs over there on Saturday night, usually. I hear party noises going on.
Party
Nobody's
noises?
here. But all of a sudden, I hear a lady's voice saying, hey, it's Sunday morning.
Velma
Party
vibe?
slows down, takes a look, goes right back.
Look at this nice room.
I
Look
don't
how this
see
open design. Wow.
I did see an apparition.
Set up a
few
wrestling
years
ring
ago,
there.
A little girl. And she actually spoke to me. She said, hi! And the whole room echoed with the sound of her voice.
Despite eerie reminders that they may not be alone, Leah, her husband Rick, and baby Taylor do not feel threatened by the otherworldly sounds and images that surround their daily lives. In fact, Sightings first heard about the activity here after sightseers at the home were spooked by an unsettling encounter.
When we received a phone call from a family of 3 in Washington, they had apparently been vacationing in the area. Their teenage daughter came over to take some photos of the house. And as she was taking the photos, she stated that she saw a young lady standing.
Hey, we told this ghost, we said, hey, Pally, get the fuck out of here or you're going to run into some real problems.
At the top of these stairs. She told the young girl
Can you break
to
a
move,
ghost's
and
kneecap?
The young girl came down the stairs and walked right toward her. And at that point, she apparently just evaporated.
Wow.
Suspecting a case of what's known as residue haunting, the Office of Scientific Investigation and Research
Oh
has
boy,
teamed with
look who it is. Here they come.
To document the activity here.
My name is Christopher Chacon.
Oh
and I
yeah,
am the
dude.
case manager.
She'll go literally for like hours sounding off on people.
For this investigation, the OSIR unveiled its newest monitoring technology.
Oh boy. Oh boy, here we
robot
go.
has and is equipped with telemetry so that it can utilize video.
This guy, I don't get south to west vibes from him, but I think south to west would hang out with this guy.
The robot was programmed to roam paranormal hotspots inside.
Like, hey,
super-sensitive
check out this
microphones were
robot.
monitored from our control center outside. The baseline readings taken earlier
Is that the one from the Rocky movie?
And checked for anomalies.
We also were able to document a variety of anomalous cold spots also along the wall, which was west of the main living room.
Young Paul
Much of the
Shorvito, he got big
investigation
gangsta
centered
vibes.
here, in the upstairs room that was once Bodega's community center. The room where the family has felt the strongest spiritual presence.
Oh, it's a community center. That
Sleeping in a
explains.
bed that was right here in this alcove, and I heard the front door open and close, and I heard footsteps coming up the stairs, and I looked at my dog, and the hair
It's
on
all
her
just
back
stain.
was
Who's
up,
that Mister?
And I looked
Who's this lady? Is that the mom from Beetlejuice?
at my dog, and the hair on her back was up, and there was a child's rocker right about here, and also a plastic beach ball, small plastic beach ball.
Beach
and
ball head
the child's
brace?
rocker began to rock back and forth, and then the beach ball began to roll.
Oh no.
And the night of our investigation, the same kind of unexplained movement Leia described was caught on tape by our team.
Yeah, wait a minute. That thing should stop by now. That's odd.
Joey Buttafuoco. Remember,
The
that guy was
swinging lamp seemed
hilarious.
to be an eerie sign that some
He was one of the first people to turn like a real life tabloid story into like a porno tape.
unknown force was
And then
at
he did
work.
celebrity boxing
And the
too, I
next
think.
morning, there was another stranger sign. A message written on the outside of a window that had been painted shut years ago.
After people live here for a while and they leave, what it creates is an impression in the environment. And it's sort of like a loop.
Man.
A videotape loop playing back.
Imagine the residue at Tropical Heat's place. He could really get on it.
Over and over again.
I think it's a residual energy of some kind. How that energy is maintained, I am a physicist, but that physics doesn't have any explanation for that.
In a search for that explanation, Sightings and the OSIR continue to work with people in supposedly haunted houses.
Look at this
in
guy,
an ongoing
proud father,
investigation of
proud
the residue
family man.
haunting. Despite the ghostly activity, the family that owns the supposedly haunted house in Bodega Bay is not moving. They told Sightings that a little paranormal phenomena is a small price to pay for life in paradise.
Next, they're in search of hope and enlightenment, and some believe this book has the answers.
Oh boy, the Celestine prophecy.
Sensing another way of life.
Self-styled prophets have been predicting the end of time since the beginning of time. So far, fortunately, they've been wrong. But by some quirk of human nature, prophecies of doom and destruction continually
Some quirk
grab
of
the
human
headlines,
nature.
While the names
I wonder
of
what
people
the
who
quirk
have
is.
correctly predicted enlightenment and innovation are lost to history. But as the year
Come on,
2000
man.
approaches, that trend may be changing.
If you look at the human race as a whole and all of our accomplishments in science and technology and in the arts, you can say what a magnificent creature human beings are, what enormous
Is this a
potential,
Windows
and if we could
screensaver?
fulfill our potential, what a
Ruby has that
magnificent
book at the
future
store.
we
We'll
might
have to ask her.
We
What's
are
that guy's
on the
name?
brink.
What a magnificent future
Jeff
we might have.
Mishlove.
We are on the brink of that magnificent future, according to a centuries-old Native American prophecy.
Ruby's on a
And
fun
many
arc,
tribes believe that a living
which she's
symbol
not,
of our
which
golden
she's like
future
doing her
has
own
been
content.
born.
She's got some fun stuff going
Seers
on.
from the Lakota tribe have predicted that a new age of global harmony
She
will
rocking
occur
that
when a
bodysuit,
white
that's
buffalo
for
is
sure.
born, and the father of that white buffalo dies right after the birth.
Oh, White
A
Buffalo
rare
is a
event,
Charles
statistically
Bronson
near
film.
impossible, but one that has come to pass in rural Wisconsin.
If they had told me that a month ago, a year ago, 10 years ago, I'd laughed at them.
What's this guy's name? I'm sorry.
If they had told me that.
Okay, yeah. For some reason, I was trying to give him like a wrestling nickname of like, Dave, if your wife's around, you better hide her.
A month ago, a year ago, 10 years ago, I laughed at them. But I guess we got chosen. I don't know why.
The
And
white
the third
calf
episode's
born on the
gonna be
Hyder
real fun.
farm is, genetically speaking, 1 in a million. With the death of the calf's father, news quickly spread about the fulfillment of the ancient Indian prophecy. Now, people from all over the world are coming to see what they
Oh my
believe is a
God! Can
harbinger
you
of world peace
imagine this
and enlightenment.
bullshit?
We knew that we needed to be here, and it's not so much the significance of actually seeing the
Made
buffalo,
pilgrimage.
but the significance of what it means having this birth. And it's my understanding that its races will come together and that there will be peace.
Can you imagine believing this? Like, I mean, I can't with this.
The coming of the white buffalo calf really sets a tone for our people, for the
Babe,
children
wake
of
up.
the seventh
The
generation.
white buffalo
so
was
this
born.
is a really powerful event that is happening.
There's been prayers said back there. They have.
They cry a lot.
They've sang
There's
together
Valerie
back
Hyder.
there,
Oh, look at that
held
cool shirt she
ceremonies.
has on. Did you see that cool
They
shirt? It
leave
had like a
their,
newt or
their
something
trinkets
on it? Or like a
on the
little frog?
fence. That calf has changed a lot of people's lives. You see
Oh,
them walk in
boy.
with disbelief on their face, and when they walk out, they got an altogether different attitude.
Whoopi Goldberg.
It's almost as if they have looked upon, if you might say, a god.
The same search for hope that draws thousands of people to the white buffalo has kept this book, The Celestine Prophecy, on the New York Times bestseller list for nearly a
White
year.
Buffalo Casino.
I met with author and reluctant
This
prophet
is just
James Redfield at
unhinged
his
to
home
me.
in Alabama.
Like, again, if you're Native American and you have that, like, strong personal connection to some of these things, okay, I kind of understand that. But if you're just some rando white lady somewhere and you believe that the birth of this white buffalo is going to lead to a unification of the races and world peace, like, you're nuts.
Discuss the impact his work of fiction is having
Like, I don't know
on
any
real
other
life.
way to put it. Like, she's
The
nuts.
polls show
You'd
that-
have to be.
That what people want is something beyond just a belief in God or the divine, a belief that their
You're a
lives
shrewd-looking horse.
are more meaningful than just survival. It's easy to take a cynical view, but the cynicism
Looks
just
like Johnny
reinforces
Lawrence's
the despair.
dad, kind of, that
The
guy.
apocalypse has been
Oh, that's
predicted
Tim White.
at many
Wow, he
times
looks
in history.
completely
You
different.
think it
I did not even recognize that as being Tim White. Wow, he looks so different out of his, like, suit.
catastrophe is inevitable?
I think none of that is inevitable. I believe that what we
Wonder if he's wearing light
visualize
makeup.
and tends to come true. I think the universe is set up for that. I think that there's a place perhaps
When I was
for those
watching
people
Vegan
that are
Patriot the other
saying,
night, I
"Look
was
out, the
a
world's
guy
gonna
looking
end."
at Camel.
But I think we can't buy into
Adjacent.
that. It's very, very important that we visualize a positive future.
In his book, Redfield creates a mythical manuscript that sets forth 9 basic truths called insights. The
Oh,
manuscript
man.
also predicts that once human beings learn all 9 of these insights, a glorious new era will dawn.
Okay.
The story is based on a manuscript
Look at this beautiful location,
written
though.
BC, several hundred years BC.
I guess that's what the
Does that
if you write a
manuscript
book
exist?
like that, you can get a nice place like this.
You know, the insights, as I have put them down in this book, came to me through a series of what I would call
Man observing
intuitions or
camel.
visions. It's a novel. It's an adventure tale. It's really meant to be a parable.
How'd you come up with the insights 1 through 9? Is 1 more important
How did
than
you come
2,
up with
or
them?
3 more important than 4? Why the rank order?
You know, I think there is a sequence to these insights, and again, you know, it's a sequence to the way we.
I think this guy could
shift our
credibly
attitude
play
about
like
life,
Freddy
and
Krueger
the way we
at
are
this time.
shifting our attitude about life. They build on one another.
The first insight is that there are no coincidences in life.
I
The
wouldn't be like
insights
I
grow
wouldn't
increasingly more
champion him
difficult to
for the
achieve
role, but
and to believe as
he'd be all
readers
right.
proceed through the list. People who've read the book might go along with you on the first 1, 2, 3, or 4 insights, but by the time you get to 7, 8, or 9, you've left a lot of people
That's
in the dust,
exactly
James.
what I was
When
thinking.
you look at modern physics and what they're spelling out is the nature of physical reality to begin with, then it doesn't seem so fantastic.
The Celestine Prophecy may be a novel written by a novelist, but it has sparked a new age movement, and Redfield
I know that it's not. I don't know if they meant it to be that way, but to me, that's kind of a nice little like some sneak shade. Even though it's a novel written by a novelist. These clowns
is now considered its prophet.
Here you come at the end of the millennium saying there's reason for great hope. Why?
Because I think that there's a core group, a slow, unheralded.
It was the turning of the
tide
millennium,
of
in case you
people
didn't
that are
know, was
kind
a
of waking
complete
up,
nothing.
to the fact
Completely
that this is a
meaningless.
spiritual world, and we're here
Nothing.
to grow and
No,
evolve
no
spiritually.
nothing.
And the difference right now is that we don't want to just talk about this. We want to really try it. We want to do it.
It is important to reiterate that the Celestine prophecy is fiction. Author James Redfield freely admits that there is no Mayan temple hiding the secrets of the universe, as far as he knows.
That doesn't stop people from traipsing into a field in the middle of nowhere to look at a buffalo.
Next, 30 years ago, 2 young girls were murdered, and this man's dreams could lead police
Wow,
to the killer.
dream murder?
Maybe the spirits of the dead girls are reaching out.
Then,
Scary
a
Terry.
psychic healer works miracles
Henry Rucker healed my eyes.
and encounters
boy.
in space.
Everyone dreams, at least every 90
I'll be
minutes
right
while you're
back.
asleep, according to recent studies. Most of these dreams are never remembered, but recurring dreams are different. Images that replay in the unconscious mind over and over demand attention. So when one Chicago man had a recurring dream about murder, he knew it was time to call the police.
In the winter of 1989, they began. The first one, I woke up out of a sound sleep, and the girls were screaming. They were telling me who did it, who was responsible for it. The dreams continued from there.
In December of 1957, 15-year-old Barbara Grimes and her 13-year-old sister Patricia left their South Side Chicago home to see Elvis Presley's first movie, Love Me Tender, for the 13th time. They never made it. A month later, their bodies were found near a rural road. Autopsies ruled that the sisters had died of exposure, and the case was closed. 32 years later, in 1989, the case was just opening for Charles Byerly.
It started like one a week, something like that, for about 4 months. And they started coming in color.
Charles was only 12 at the time of the girls' deaths and had no conscious memories of the event.
I didn't know the girls, I didn't know any of the family. I never lived in their area. I didn't know anything about them. So when I found out about it, I was kind of shocked that it was true.
Charles has several recurring dreams. In one, the last terrifying moments for the Grimes sisters are replayed in detail.
One of the dreams that was in color, there was a green Buick, I believe 1953, something like that. And one of the girls was in the front seat with the driver. I was in the back seat. They were drinking. The girls weren't drinking. Barbara knew who the driver was. She knew who he was because that's the reason they got in the car.
Wasn't there another isn't there another religious thing that has to do, I want to say it's like the red heifer or something like that. Isn't that some kind of a thing? I remember Keemstar on like a really early episode of Lolcow Live was like crashing out over it, and he was like, "Boogie, you won't believe it. It's the end of the world, man. Everything's going." You know, it was during that time whenever Boogie would be on there, and he'd always be like, "I'm in so much pain. I'm in so much pain.
The radio was going.
I'm laughing, but I'm in pain."
You know, everything was fine. Everybody was laughing, having a good time, and then all of a sudden,
Oh,
it
yeah,
wasn't a
the
good time
epic
anymore. It became serious.
sad
They
Hulk.
were in trouble. It got worse as it went along. Everything became like a nightmare.
Another creepy
It really wasn't
apartment
considered a dream
complex
to me
maintenance
anymore
man.
because it all seemed so real, like I knew them or
Archetype.
something. I've known them all my life, and I never did. You know, that's how close I became with them in my dreams.
As the dreams became more frequent,
Look at
Charles
this
Byerly became
mustache.
convinced that he was being given a message. He saw more frequent. Charles Byerly became convinced that
dreams.
As the dreams became
Red heifer, according to Judaism, means either the Messiah is coming or the third temple would be built. But after the red heifer happens, where do you go from there? Like, because there was a huge deal about it. Like, does something have to happen to the red heifer for those things to happen, or?
more frequent. Charles Byerly became convinced that he was being given a message. He sought out veteran Chicago area police officer Jerry Schultz.
I honestly believe him. I have never been one to believe a dreamer before, but I honestly believe him.
You know, he had his facts, and I had my dreams, and the two just seemed to go together.
When we went to the area where the bodies were found, Chuck walked up to the area, right where the bodies were, became very tense. He was upset. He wanted to walk away from that area right there at that point. After looking at some pictures, I found out that this was the spot where the two Grimes sisters were found. This is one of several things that convinced me that his dreams, that there were in fact dreams and they could be very helpful in the case.
I knew the spot because I saw the girls there in my dreams.
Is this what happened to Billy Jack
the
Haynes?
Trees that come across
with that
dead
train
branches
tracks
and things
murder?
that I saw in my dreams. They were there, so I knew I was in the right place.
Some of the items that he has described to me as being found or being owned by the girls has never been detailed in any news media that I know. Okay, whether it be in a newspaper or through television or radio.
One recurring item in his dreams
Possible
was a special
LSD
piece
user.
of jewelry, a ring that Patricia liked to wear.
I was in a small shack, and I looked up on one of the beams in the corner, and on the very top of the beam was her ring.
Oh,
Later on, I
boy.
found out that she received the ring for a gift.
Oh
You know,
boy, now
either
he's
on
got
a
a
birthday or Christmas.
He's in
or
possession
something
of
like
the
that.
property of the dead person.
And, it meant a lot to her.
I believe it is a common thing for people that are deceased to try to
Wow,
communicate
Jory
with
Ann.
people, you know, through their dream state.
Psychic Jory Ann and paranormal investigator Howard Heim were called in to investigate the places
Howard
Charles has been
Heim.
drawn to through his
Look at
dreams.
this. Oh, look at that
Heim
double
recorded
camera.
environmental anomalies in the area, while Jory Ann voiced her psychic impressions.
You're feeling stab wounds. You're feeling somebody getting stabbed.
Based on my experience, I do believe that the girls are trying to communicate with Charles about exactly what happened to him and why.
This is a strange universe. that
Poor
we live in.
guy.
We don't have all the answers. Maybe the spirits of the dead girls are reaching out in an attempt to obtain justice. Or maybe the living relatives of the girls are unconsciously reaching out to this dreamer.
Okay.
in
Oh,
an
wow.
attempt
All
to
right.
obtain
So
justice.
at first I was like, okay, this guy's kind of trying to come in and be a voice of reason. And then he posits an even more bonkers theory that it's not the dead haunting this guy's dreams, it's the living astrally projecting into his mind.
One night, I had a dream that Barbara was whispering in my ear.
But wait a second. If he's seeing the murder scene and everything, wouldn't they have to know what... Are they the murderers? Is the family the murderers? How could they implant knowledge that they don't have?
Not to give up. So just
I'm
keep
having some
working
doubts about this one
your
too,
dreams.
TBH.
Remember your dreams and everything.
Remote viewing, there you go.
Everything's going to be okay.
No one
What's
knows
up,
how
Robot
Barbara
Rock?
and Patricia Grimes were killed, but Charles's dreams
I thought you meant
have
they took the
provided
video
new
down
clues
for a
that could
second. I
lead
was
to
like,
a
wow.
murderer.
I think we're
I
still...
would
I
like to
thought
see
I was
the
pretty
case
sure I was still
reopened.
alive.
The murderer or murderers are
What's
still
up,
out
Ember?
there if they haven't died yet. And that's one of the things that Chuck has brought to my attention, that the individual that is involved in this wants to confess. He wants to bring it out. He wants to clear his conscience.
I think if
before
you
he
went to
dies.
a real university,
If
they'd
the
give you
case
an
is
answer pretty
reopened,
quick.
it would give legal credence to the idea that our subconscious somehow knows things that our
Yeah,
conscious
dream
mind
guy.
does not. For Charles
Plus,
Byerly,
he's just a weird
finding the
guy. He
killing
has a
would not
real,
only be a public triumph, but also a personal
I feel
relief.
like you wouldn't want to
Maybe the dreams
like
will
bump
stop.
into him in the
I won't
parking
have to
garage
think
at
about
night.
this
you know?
anymore. Maybe they can rest in peace. You know, if I'm still dreaming about them and they're still coming at me like this, maybe they're not resting at all. Maybe they want it solved.
Hey, Bob Brown.
Officially, it's case closed for the 1957 deaths of two teenage girls in Chicago. But based on the information provided by Chuck Byerly, Detective Jerry Schultz is now
Chuck
trying
Byerly.
to obtain a court order to reopen the case and exhume the bodies. We'll bring you the results of his efforts on a future episode.
Coming up next, a psychic healer's gift.
Oh yeah,
In
people wanted
medicine,
Ruby to
if we were to
do
give
a ghost
drug
hunting
and get
thing.
this kind of response, it would be a miracle.
Psychic or spiritual healing is the oldest of all medical practices. It was an essential part of the healer's art before drugs and vaccines and sophisticated technology replaced the simpler remedies. But now science is returning to the old ways because sometimes
the old
they're
ways.
the only ones that work. Henry Rucker doesn't know why he has
This is
the
what
power
we have to
heal
look
some
forward
people,
to. This is going to be
but he remembers
healthcare
having
in
a
few
special
years.
gift from an early age.
I went to a hospital at 10 years old for a tonsillectomy. I woke up and I couldn't stay in my body. I find myself on the other side of the room looking at me, and it panicked me. And I thought I was dying or was dead. And I tried my best to stay in my body, and finally I dropped off to sleep.
Author Joyce Elaine Knoll details Rucker's
There's never been a better time to get into faith healing, guys.
amazing healing powers in this book, considered the definitive text on African Americans with psychic powers.
He has an ability to adjust people's energy fields or areas of blockage that a person has that is causing an illness,
Company of prophets.
making them unwell.
30 years ago, Aisha Grice's doctors presented
Wholesome,
her with a
just
fait
hanging out on the
accompli.
porch.
She had an eye disease,
Enjoying
retinitis pigmentosa,
Enjoying
and
the
was
day.
going to be blind. But then Aisha met Henry Rucker at a spiritual retreat.
I got a
Oh, I
healing
like that
from
guy's
him and didn't realize it until I went back to the
Having
hospital
this
for
hair
my
doesn't-
regular
it's- I don't know about it.
checkup. So after
It's kind of off-putting.
he worked on me, then the doctors decide that they've made a mistake. I can see and I can drive, and I drive at night as a result of my contact with Henry Rucker.
Well, we're
What can
entering into
Rucker's
the
psychic
era of
powers be
faith
proven
healing.
scientifically?
Bob Brown.
Henry,
think you got a shot.
in 1 or 2 sessions with a patient,
See Norman
can
Shealy
do more than any
from the
psychiatrist or
Shealy
psychologist I've
Institute.
ever known in
Okay.
my life could do in weeks or months of therapy.
Dr. C. Norman Shealy is a Harvard-trained neurosurgeon who has become increasingly disillusioned with conventional medicine.
85% of physicians are honest, caring individuals. Unfortunately, they have been brainwashed from the day they entered medical school. They mean well. They want to help people.
This is why this guy doesn't want to work at a regular hospital right there.
Beings. They're not just machines.
Oh, we don't know,
Henry
Robot
Rucker
Glock.
has worked with Dr. Shealy and his patients on a regular basis.
That's the thing about sightings. I don't think you ever get any kind of closure on any of these stories at all.
Since the two first met more than 20 years ago.
December 19th, 1972.
Tommy King was
I
having
went to Henry's
technical
office
difficulties.
and I spent 3 hours for a 1-hour appointment.
So he challenged me. He said, well, I understand that you're a psychic. Tell me about myself. Well, I told him about himself and his family.
And I was impressed enough with Henry that I asked him to come up to my clinic to see how good he was at really intuitive diagnoses. And he was excellent.
Rucker has reportedly healed hundreds of Dr. Shealy's patients. Sightings sent a team to the Shealy Institute in Missouri to see if we could document Rucker's healing power as he worked with 3 women suffering from chronic pain. Blood is drawn before the
Chronic
healing.
pain.
Dr. Shealy believes that an increase in the level of a hormone called DHEA will indicate Rucker's
Post-prostate
level
hug.
of success.
People with deficiencies in DHEA have all the major illnesses: heart disease, diabetes, depression, you name it.
I feel like you gotta
The DHEA
go for
goes
something
up
a little
on
more
these
concrete, like
patients,
visible,
any
if
one
you're
of
wanting to prove
Even
faith healing.
10% in such a short period of time, I will consider that a near miracle of healing, because DHEA really doesn't
Jazz
change
hands. Oh, look at this.
significantly on a day-to-day basis.
Very seldom have I worked on a person that didn't feel better in some way. I can hardly remember a time when that happened. For the most part,
Well, they
something
do say
happened
laughter is the
every
best
time
medicine,
I've
I
made
guess.
a healing effort. You have to keep in mind that my thing is a spiritual thing, and that I really don't have a personal control over what happens. Intuitively, I feel very strongly that these 3 people are going to be helped tremendously. Now,
let's go.
Immediately after the healing
500
sessions,
bucks, please.
blood was drawn again. After independent lab testing, Dr. Shealy shared the results with his patients. Amazingly, in each case, the level of DHEA increased substantially after Henry Rucker applied his healing technique.
In medicine, if we were to give a drug and get this kind of response,
very
it would
different.
be
Is that
a
Ernest
miracle.
Borgnine?
I know of nothing that one could do, especially with a single shot, so to speak, in which you could raise DHEA 100% or 55%. So I think this is the most
I'm gonna try
startling
this. I'm gonna
evidence
see if I can get
of
somebody to let me
spiritual healing
faith
having
heal
a
them.
biochemical effect upon the body that one can imagine.
I see this as a healing ministry. In my ministry, most of the people
I thought he said
that I have sought
pastry.
to help have truly been helped, whether it be emotionally, whether it be a cessation of pain, and sometimes it was almost like a miracle.
The DHEA test conducted by Dr. Shealy only seemed to confirm what patients have been saying about Henry Rucker for more than 25 years.
Henry Rucker healed my eyes and didn't charge me a dime. I didn't get a bill in the mail. I got hugs and kisses when I told him that it worked.
Results like those demonstrated by Henry Rucker have not gone unnoticed by the mainstream medical community. Recently, the National Institutes of Health announced a large-scale plan to study alternative therapies, including Tai Chi, Navajo healing, and the laying on of hands.
Next, Russian and American astronauts describe bizarre encounters in space.
I have seen a snake
Man,
out
this is a
there,
packed
6,
episode.
7, 8 feet long.
Yeah, he told me to go meet up with a dolphin.
The Russian equivalent of Cape Canaveral is called Star City. Until recently, it was closed to outsiders and jealously guarded its outer space secrets. But in the wake of Glasnost, a Sightings investigative team was invited to Star City. And when we got there, the
City.
first cosmonaut we spoke with told us that he had just had an encounter with a UFO. Sightings went to investigate cosmonaut sightings of UFOs, sightings similar to those reported
Russian
by
UFO.
American astronauts, but dismissed by American scientists.
A lot of things we see on the picture from space are things we're used to seeing here in the control center down here in
Oh,
Houston.
we've seen this guy
They're
before.
ordinary
He
events
made
that
it to a
surround the
thumbnail.
spaceship. Pieces coming off, water dumps, pieces of ice, insulation. They're just little pieces 10, maybe 20 feet away from the camera.
But within the Soviet space program, cosmonauts insist that they have seen more than just floating scraps of space junk.
I think that we are not alone in the universe. I believe that someone or something of extraterrestrial origin has visited Earth.
In April of 1979, cosmonaut Viktor Afanasyev
As long as you
lifted
don't
off
get
from
Hank
Star
killed.
City to dock with the Soviet Soyuz 6 space station.
What?
But while en route, something strange happened. Cosmonaut Afanasyev saw an unidentified object turn toward his
kinda
craft
neat looking.
and begin tailing it through space.
It followed us during half of our orbit. We observed it
That's
on
true.
the light side, and when we entered the shadow side, it disappeared completely. It was an engineering structure made from some type of metal, approximately 40 meters long with inner holes. The object was narrow here and wider here, and inside there were openings.
I wonder
Some
if that guy
places
we
had
watch on
projections
Boit
like
Watch
small
that's in
wings.
Russia has
The
ever
object
seen a
stayed
UFO.
very close to us. We photographed it, and our photos showed it to be 23 to 28 meters away.
In addition to photographing the UFO, Afanasyev continually reported back to Mission
Of course,
Control
Yeltsin.
about the craft's size, its shape, and position. When the cosmonaut returned to Earth, he was debriefed, told never to reveal what he knew, and had his cameras and film confiscated. Those photos and his voice transmissions from space have never been released. It is only
I thought he was
now,
going to say
with
until
the collapse
now.
of the Soviet Union, that Afanasyev feels he can safely tell his story.
It is still classified as a UFO. because
Equine
we have
energy
yet
healing. Yeah,
to
I believe in
identify
animal,
the
like being
object.
around animals. I
Spaceflight
don't know
itself
about what she
broadens
does
your
with the
horizons
horse,
to
but
the point which you kind of open up to possibilities.
Dr. Story Musgrave is a veteran of 5 American shuttle missions who has seen and photographed several unidentified flying objects in space. Dr. Musgrave does not believe they are craft from another planet.
On 2 of my missions, and I still don't have an answer, I have
Is this
seen
Barry Darso?
a snake out there, 6, 7, 8 feet long.
What?
It is rubbery because it has internal waves in it, and it follows you for a rather long period of time. the more you fly in space, the more you see an incredible amount of things out there. And that sort of brings to you really a certainty.
Oh, is that the
other
mother
living
and
creatures
daughter
are out there.
people?
Some incredibly primitive, more primitive. Some's just proteins coming together, amino acids, and some just single-celled
space
organisms.
snake?
And other civilizations have been around for a million years that are doing unimaginable.
They let this guy
kinds
go
of
into
things.
space?
Cosmonaut Afanasiev believes that the UFO he sighted
snatched him
and photographed
bald-headed.
in 1979 was evidence of just this kind of distant, superintelligent civilization. Does the United States have similar evidence that they're also hiding?
No, I'm sure they would divulge it. That's what NASA's all about. It's about the search for extraterrestrial intelligence. I can see no reason that that would be classified in any way. And I wouldn't let it be. I'm an
Space
astronaut, I
snakes.
fly in space. I have 5 flights. The second I see some, I'm going to tell somebody.
If you've had a paranormal experience, call the Sightings
Proteins
hotline
coming
at
together.
1-900-933-SIGHT. That's
I don't know, I'm
1-900-933-7444.
skeptical on that guy. He
Each call
seemed a little
65 cents a
out of
minute.
it.
Average call lasts 3 minutes.
Space snakes that kept
Sightings is
following
also
him.
online.
They
Our
took his
email
hair.
address is sightings@aol.com.
Until next time, remember, no mystery is closed to an open mind.
True.
For Sightings,
Anything is believable if you believe everything. We'll see you next time. All right, let's watch one more. I think we got time. Yeah, I got time for one more.
I'm Tim White.
Now, see, this one I always get confused. Season 3, Episode 11, Apocalypse, and then I always read this as Montreal mass shooting, but it isn't. It's Montreal mass sighting. And then the last segment is just called A Mother's Love.
On this edition of Sightings, it's the end
There you go,
really
chasing
near.
the space
Prophets
dragon.
are receiving terrifying
Oh, the
visions
blood
of the
vessels in his
apocalypse.
eyes.
Breaking up of the United States will occur before 97.
He seemed pretty, like,
we anticipate
jittery.
about half of the
Oh, no,
population
they
of the
disclose
planet
everything,
will
of
be
course.
killed in the
Then, this woman's dream of her own past life brings a family together after 50 years.
I know it's very hard for people to understand, but to me, our mother came back to us.
What is the Canadian government hiding the truth about this photograph?
That a large object could hover over downtown Montreal and no official response. That, to me, is fascinating.
Later, a psychic detective helps police search for a child's killer, and a lake monster captured on tape.
Captured a lake monster? Okay. Shooting protein all over space? Why not? Space snakes, they know. It's like they're out in the infinite void. Why not get a nut if you can?
Welcome to Sightings. I'm Tim White.
You think he shot ropes in
65
space,
million
or would
years
it
ago,
pull
the
your dick
dinosaurs
off,
were
like the
wiped off the
pressure
face
of
of the
space?
planet. 1,000 years ago, an entire race of people, the Maya, vanished from the Earth, leaving no survivors. But that's ancient history. Or is it? Many modern-day prophets are warning that in the year 2000...
Okay, but what if you... Could it be possible that if you did shoot ropes in space, that eventually they could collide with something like an asteroid or something and like knock it off course? Or would it just like, you know what I mean? How would that
It will be
collision
our
physics
turn
work?
to go.
We're going
I want
to
all
see
these
storms of
motherfucking
such
snakes off this
intensity that they will
motherfucking
break
space
all
shuttle.
historic records. The prophets said they would be so great that people would drop dead in
Small
sheer
hat.
terror at what they see coming.
Hurricane winds and rain pelt the East Coast, and you'll see that the East Coast breaks up extensively in the prophecies. Washington, D.C., Philadelphia, and also New York City are all underwater.
These are pretty powerful events that are going to be happening, and we anticipate about half of the population of the planet will be killed in the...
These are the dire predictions of a diverse group of prophets, biblical scholars, scientists, and philosophers who have a warning. Whether they call it Armageddon, the apocalypse, or doomsday, modern prophets want everyone on Earth to prepare for cataclysmic changes they see in the near future.
It's everywhere. It's every period of history we know anything about.
It could be.
Every part of the world we know anything about. They're talking about a global transformation.
Ted
Yeah, I love
Daniels is
those
editor
effects,
and
look really
publisher
cool.
of the Millennial Prophecy Report, a newsletter that tracks the predictions of over 1,000 millennial groups.
According to these folks, it's going
Man, I
to
love
be
all
a
this
period
old tech.
of great turmoil. Continents are going to split apart. Volcanoes are going to erupt all at once all around the planet.
Oh my
Earthquakes,
God.
tidal waves, plagues. The
Trains.
basic stuff in the book of Revelation.
Automobiles.
They all agree pretty much that things are going to get a whole lot worse before they get any better.
Some biblical scholars see the book of Revelation as
See,
a
this guy,
blueprint
somebody
for
should have told
disaster
him back in his
and a warning
20s.
for those who
It
do
don't
not
get better.
adhere to its beliefs.
There will continue to be a great increase in volcanic and earthquake activity. I believe that we will see
Oh, we got
major
another
plagues
dark
breaking out in
mustache,
the
gray
world, as
hair
well
guy.
as famines increase. These are things that are not pleasant to think about, but the Bible predicted this is what's going to happen.
Author and biblical interpreter Hal Lindsey first drew international
We'll get
attention with
Dennis
the publication
Farina
of
to
his
play
book
this
of
guy.
prophecies, The Late Great Planet Earth.
And I think what the late great planet Earth did was make the non-religious person become aware that there was a definite pattern or scenario of predicted events.
Lindsey believes that the detonation of the first atomic bomb signaled the beginning of the end, as predicted in the book of Revelation. A real Armageddon could now be unleashed at the push of a button, and he believes that the button is in very shaky hands.
The prophets have indicated that we're going to see a thermonuclear war in the Middle East that will drag
Mustache
the whole
rides.
world into it.
That's true.
This was
Edward.
predicted. That this,
20
as a
killed
matter
in
of fact,
terrorist
the
bombing.
Bible says the last war of the world will start because of a dispute over Jerusalem.
So this is 19 whatever we agreed somewhere. It's somewhere in the 90s, so it's 30-ish years ago, and this is the same exact stuff that we see now.
Who owns it?
The Bible,
and without doubt, every single step of the way, people always say that this is the end of the world. This is the Armageddon, the Middle East. We've never seen conflict like this in the Middle East before, and it's like, bro, come on.
Isn't the only source of apocalyptic prophecies. Impending worldwide disaster is also being predicted by scientists who see catastrophe in the stars.
Many such claims.
All of the visible planets and the sun and the moon
Richard
and the Earth will all
Keininger.
be in a straight line on May 5th in the year 2000.
Astronomers
What a
confirm
neat
that
globe.
all 9
Is that
planets
really
in
what
our
that
solar
looks
system
like?
will
Is
be
that really what
aligned
North
on May
America looks
5th,
like?
the year 2000. That all 9 planets.
No, it's not very
in the
aesthetic.
year 2000.
Look at a dog
Astronomers
taking a shit.
confirm that all 9 planets in our solar system will be aligned on May 5th, the year 2000. Richard Keininger, a structural engineer, believes that this planetary alignment will create a gravitational pull so great the poles will shift.
It's not a tumbling of the entire planet, but a sliding of the crust relative to the core over the kind of semi-liquid magma that all the continents float on. The loss of life is going to be tremendous, with land sinking and rising and tsunami and great storms as a result of all of these things. Volcanoes will be going off that have been quiescent for thousands of years. About half of the population of the world will.
I think what really strikes me, and I guess it's because living in America, like a lot of people are religious, but I've never understood the idea that someone would just take for granted that there will always be people. Like, I don't believe that at all. I think we're just one chapter on the, like, you know, existence narrative.
Probably die.
Like, oh, everything will be fine. All this crazy shit's happening, but it'll be fine because, you know, humans have to endure. Like, I don't know about that, pal.
During those 3 days.
I don't know about that,
Earth
pal.
scientists reject Keininger's alignment theory, but do agree that cataclysmic Earth changes can occur for other reasons.
It may very well be that we have periods of time when many volcanoes are active all at once.
Dr.
This could change the climatic
Dr.
situation
Thomas
on a global
Hinyé.
basis. Having a cluster of earthquakes simultaneously.
In anticipation of the apocalypse he sees coming on May 5th, 2000, Keininger has established the community of Adelphi, where he and his followers plan for their own survival.
Our means of survival primarily is to use lighter-than aircraft to get off the surface of the planet while all of these major changes are occurring. And this is 14 stories high. It's about 300 yards across, and they could carry
3 minutes
literally
to 12.
1,000 passengers We can have a whole fleet of them. To
I have
use
no
for
idea.
commercial
I just
purposes.
don't think that like people are going to be around forever. I don't think humans are like a permanent resident of Earth, if that makes sense. I'm not saying it's what's going to happen anytime soon.
So such time as we would need it for the airlift.
I think it like, and I mean, if you believe science and you believe in all that kind of stuff, then like eventually the sun will explode, and then there'll be like literally nothing. Just like black holes chasing each other across whatever.
Lori Adele Toy's prophetic messages are strikingly similar to Kinninger's. Toy believes her visions of the end of the world were given to her by spiritual guides.
But you think it's going to be the end of the world, Nick?
Ascendant Masters.
The prophecies start in the Pacific Northwest, where Washington and Oregon are underwater, leaving the Cascade Range of mountains as a series of small islands. The Sierra Madres become as a chain of islands, and the new seaport
Will we see
city
Ben
of
Thorpe
Phoenix
building an
is where
ark?
the new coastline is.
Gordon Michael Scallion, who has accurately predicted many earthquakes
I'll take
and
the
volcanic
entirety of the
eruptions in
Boyd
the
with
past,
me back to
agrees
my
with Toy's vision of the future.
back to my home planet.
The breaking up of the United States.
Oh, now we're
has to make-
talking. Look at this. A lemon suit.
Islands in California and major earthquakes in Oregon and Washington and the Cascades and the eruption of Mount Rainier will occur before 97.
The one geological
gonna happen.
explanation
It's
for the
inevitable.
flooding of the coastlines is the increase in sea level, the rise in sea level, perhaps due to further melting of the glaciers and ice sheets, for example, on
It's why
Antarctica
Rich and
Greenland.
Joy are always so happy. It's because when you're a Jedi, you don't have those kind of attachments to things like like the entirety of human existence.
So that's actually quite plausible.
You can just chill
The
because
Mississippi
you know
and the
like
Missouri rivers are now
there's
widened
no
to almost
permanence.
6 times to 8 times their size during this time of
that doesn't
global warming,
devalue
and also
our lives or
2
devalue
years
our existence,
of
though. In
continuous
my opinion.
rains, which were prophesied as a result of the simultaneous explosion of
Oh,
volcanoes
look how
in the
badass
Pacific
that is.
Rim.
Lori Adele Toy has created a future map of the Earth based on the visions she believes have been dictated to her by the Ascended Masters. Gordon Michael Scallion's prophetic future map of the Earth is almost identical to Toy's. Remarkable, because the two have never met or shared their ideas.
The year 2000, and it's going to come for everybody in the world at once. So therefore, it has to have a cosmic meaning.
I mean, I kind of agree, Bob. Even if you're a big climate change believer, like a lot of climate change experts are now basically saying, which I mean, this is not a green light to just whatever, but like, I think a lot of people, when they see the reports that say like we've crossed these thresholds, or whatever, then they just kind of like give up or whatever. But yeah, I mean, even climate change experts are kind of saying that like, that we're past some things that cannot be like wound back.
Meaning, of course. In fact, of course,
He's
it's
got a
entirely
radio
arbitrary.
face, that's
Not
for
all
sure.
cultures share the same calendar, but doomsday prophets insist we will all share the same fate. The word
Worst
apocalypse
timeline? I don't know about
comes
that
from
one.
the Greek meaning to reveal what is hidden, and many prophets are warning that what is hidden is starting to bubble to the surface. Before you start shopping for beachfront
True.
property in Colorado, keep this in mind. The last time the millennium changed, similar predictions of doom were rampant throughout
Like
Europe,
prime
causing
time.
widespread
I
panic.
mean, right now,
as the year 1000.
I'm kind of down on it, because it's fallen off a little bit. But like when it's over, I'll probably wish I had some of those like mediocre episodes to watch.
Approached.
When Sightings continues, a woman's dreams reunite her with children from a past life.
It was almost an obsessive need to find out what had happened to them.
It's fantastic, Nick.
The belief that death is followed by
Can you
rebirth in a new
imagine if
body.
it is the end of the world and like all these YouTube people are just wandering around in the apocalypse?
Reincarnation is shared by many peoples, including Hindus, Buddhists, and Australian Aborigines. But Western Judeo-Christian religions reject the idea that our souls return in different bodies. So when a Catholic family in Ireland met a woman who said that she was the reincarnation of their dead mother, they rejected her completely. At first.
What if I run into a fungus shell
This
version
is
of
Jenny
Grace? Am I
Coquelle
going to be
and
able
her
to
family.
do the right thing?
Jenny, her husband, and their 2 children live in Northamptonshire, England. But when she was a child, Jenny was haunted by vivid,
I will
recurring
miss it.
dreams
I really,
in which she was the
even
mother of
now, like prime time is still to me, like I would never consider cutting it off. Like there's just no way.
a
We
different
have to
family
finish it.
in a different town, living in a cottage she dreamt about and drew pictures of in minute detail.
It was the first cottage on the left, along a little lane. There was only one door. There were only a couple of windows. If you entered the cottage, you had to actually shut the door behind you before you could turn left or right, because it was there was a fairly
It'll be
tight
interesting
space
in
there. There was a
America to
wooden
see
partition
how.
immediately in front.
I see
To
though
the
now that
right,
they're kind
you
of
entered the
changing
bedroom.
the
To the left, you
immigration
entered the
stuff to
living
where they're
room.
not going to go after, in theory,
There was
the
a
people that
large
work in like the fields or
fireplace
whatever.
that
But our
dominated
supply
the
chain and like the
kitchen living area.
There were also
agricultural
recurring
stuff, I
dreams
mean, could be
about
going
a
through some
Jenny,
pretty big
a
shifts
church,
with all the
children, 8 in all, who called her
Like,
mama, and a husband who called her Mary.
federal
It all
changes that
seemed
were
too
made.
real to be just a dream.
If you dream of yourself in another time in a different body, that may be not a Freudian distortion or a symbol, but an actual past life memory fragment emerging. I've had people know their way around cities in Europe and they had never been there before. They knew the streets, where the old church was, this kind of thing. These are spontaneous memories of past lifetimes.
In Jenny's case,
You get a
her
spam
spontaneous
link.
memories were so detailed, she
text
could
with link. I've
actually
never
draw
seen
road
that.
maps of the town in her dreams.
I remember drawing the maps throughout childhood. I used to refine them and draw them better, and I didn't want to forget.
I still
because I
feel
was
like
determined to be able to go there one day.
I wouldn't picture her voice to be that
When I was
accent
given a
with the way
school
she looks.
atlas, and I thought, if I look at this, I've got to know where it is. I mean, all the other stuff was fairly instinctive. And I spent some time just looking at it and thinking, and the whole time I was drawn back to the same place. Again and again, I was just drawn
Last
back
house
to
on the left.
one area.
That area was Malahide, Ireland, 300 miles away from her home in England. It was here that Jenny felt she had lived before, as Mary, a mother of 8.
Always
After
a
years of
favorite, Bob
wondering,
Brown. I love
Jenny
how it, even though it's like, I feel like anyway, probably not now because it's older, but like to horror movie people that I knew when I was like in my 20s and stuff, definitely would have remembered that movie. And it was pretty old even at that time, but it always shows up on those YouTube like movies from directors, you know, famous directors, movies from famous directors that you've never seen, and like that one's always on there for Wes Craven.
Finally visited Malahide and discovered that her childhood
I'd say the
maps
Linda
were
Blair one he
strikingly
directed is
similar to
much
real
less
maps of the
known,
town.
I would think.
Would she also find the cottage, jetty, and church that had haunted her dreams?
Although I had gone to Malahide expecting to find
Welcome to
things
Malahide.
that I had remembered, the accuracy quite shook me. I started out looking for the jetty. There was a tremendous sense of having been there before, of remembering it, but it wasn't really enough. So I then walked up to Church Street, and I stopped in my tracks. I had not really taken in how detailed the drawing I had made of this church had been. I did feel elated. I knew that I'd got the right place. I knew that this was the village.
Malahide.
But when Jenny followed her dream maps to the place where she believed the cottage
I
would
just
be,
on her head.
there was nothing there but an overgrown field. At first, she was disappointed. A crucial piece of the puzzle didn't fit. But looking beyond the gate,
Oh,
she
hang
saw
on.
broken wood beams.
You're typing a specific phrase in the YouTube chat, and then you're getting like actual text on your phone?
And a bit of stone and mortar. It seemed somehow familiar. Jenny pushed her way through the tall grass and tangled vines until she saw this. Immediately, she felt as if she were in a waking dream in which she was Mary, a mother of 8, and she was home.
The first thing I wanted to do was just burst into tears. I mean, it was the first real, tangible proof of something that had existed in the past that I had remembered. It was the first thing I could touch.
But as Jenny explored the remnants of what she now believed was a past life, she had a vision of her own past death in childbirth.
A sense of
Well,
disorientation.
Also, keep in mind for you, if you're talking about the West Coast, California, Nick McKeamy, you have to factor in Jimmy, the world teacher, is there as well. He's in Fresno, and he has been for months orchestrating natural disasters because no one will step in to help him get famous and rich off of YouTube. So he's having to like conduct all these different natural disasters. So you have to factor that in as well.
difficulty breathing.
Toll
Great
collection.
difficulty breathing. There was considerable pain to start off with. At the point of death, that seemed to vanish altogether. What I do remember, and have always remembered, is actually the point of leaving the body. The sensation that was left at that time was just of what was going to happen to the children.
Jenny wondered if she was able to find her town, her church, and her home, could she also find her children? Was anyone alive who could remember that family who once lived in the cottage and confirm the reality of her past life dreaming?
I had a sense of responsibility for the children, and it was almost an obsessive need to find out what had happened to them, find out where they were.
He's made some really wild out-of-pocket shorts whenever bad, like many times recently when something bad's happened, and he'll like well, first of all, he'll take credit for it, and then he'll be dancing in front of like an image of like, you know, that says like, I think he did one for the Texas floods. He did one for what was he? Oh, the Iran bombing Israel.
How they were.
When we return, Jenny Coquelle searches for proof that she's lived before and finds an aging family that believes Jenny is the reincarnation of their long-dead mother.
He is the world teacher.
Coming up next.
I realize it's going to be a strange story to approach them with.
Is it proof of reincarnation or a miracle?
To me, our mother came back to us.
In childhood, Jenny Coquelle had
Peter
visions
Thiel.
of a past life in which she was a mother who
Give
died
me a big
young,
bunch of
leaving
money.
8 children behind.
It's one of my favorite recent
As an
Jimmy
adult,
quotes.
Jenny came to believe those visions after a profound deja vu experience in a small Irish town. Well, now Jenny searches for the children who would now be in their 70s and 80s that she believes she left behind.
Yeah, that's an interesting. I don't know if that's going to be part of this, what we're seeing here or not. But that I have heard a lot. I've read a lot of stories about people that went into like a coma and then they woke up and their personality was like drastically shifted in one way or another. That's an interesting topic.
In the 1930s, a young mother
Maybe there's a
named
Turkey
Mary
Tom
lived and
video
died
about
here
it.
in Malahide, Ireland. Jenny Coquelle believes she is the reincarnation of Mary. In one of many recurring dreams,
I would like
she
to watch a
recalls moment
documentary
from her
or
past
something
life.
about that, though.
It must have been about November. It was that sort of time of year where you get a heavy dew and it's quite cool first thing in the morning.
Look at these old tiny
because
outfits.
the children came running in very early in the morning. We've got something. We've come and have a look. And everybody came out of the cottage to have a look and see what they'd caught in their snare. And the children all stood around in a circle. And I remember having to look through the middle of this little circle of heads.
Based on the period clothing and household items in her dreams, Jenny believed that Mary lived around the turn of the century. If that was true, at least some of Mary's children might still be alive. Jenny felt she had to try to find them.
I think I just needed to know they were okay.
Or like,
I realized it was going
or like something that they were like really interested in, they're no longer interested in, or like they have a new random like niche fixation. All right, Amber, I'll see you later. Thanks for stopping by. Appreciate the positivity. And I know It's Me really loves the paragraphs that are perfectly rational and are certainly not nonsense. Isn't that going to get canceled or something? Didn't the or a bunch of their funding get cut for that thing?
Because I realized it's going to be a strange story to approach them with.
But how could Jenny find those children? The cottage was gone. Neighboring cottages had been torn down to make way for new homes.
Yeah, it's
Jenny
interesting.
walked the old country
Let me,
lanes, took out ads, wrote letters. It seemed like a futile search until
I want to do an episode on that.
Who lived in the area, had lived in the area for a long time, and was able to remember the family, had actually been to school with the children.
That person was the son of the man who had built the cottage. He told Jenny the mother's name was Mary Sutton. Armed with the last name, Jenny was able to track down Mary's marriage license from 1917, her death certificate dated 1932, and then, through the help of a priest, Jenny obtained baptism records for 6 of the 8 Sutton children. They came from a church, just as Mary had dreamed.
I knew the oldest child was very supportive, quiet, fairly gentle, but
Yeah, I made a note of it so I'd make sure I didn't forget about it. Wake up from a coma and wonder what the hell the point of a Vinny Sluggish dream is. No, but have you guys ever... I said this one time to some... I had this conversation one time with I wasn't... Not someone that I knew personally, so it might have been a weird conversation to have, but I asked them if they had, like, ever wondered if they actually, like, liked anything. You know what I mean? Like, for me, like, I know that I have, like, everybody, I would think anyway, probably has, like their favorite foods or their favorite TV shows or whatever, but, like... Do you think that they really like those things? You know what I mean? Does that make any sense?
I mean, he was
Like, do I like pizza, or do I just... Is it just something that, for some reason, like, you know, I think I like?
I referred to him as a little soldier.
She searched for her little soldier and found him. 75-year-old Sonny Sutton. Imagine getting a telephone call out of the blue from a young woman claiming to be your long-dead mother.
Is it just like existential cope that to say to like something?
Understand. But to me, our mother came back to us.
Could I just arbitrarily, like, could I force myself to like something? You know what I mean? Like, if I just kept watching something, like we do Primetime or something, would I eventually just be like, oh, I like this thing. I do it all the time. I'm choosing to do it. Do I actually like it?
She told me that I lived in a lodge.
That's the reaction I got. It's me from the girl I was talking to about it.
And the entrance
She
to the
was
lodge
like, what? What the fuck are you talking about?
The cottage itself was set slightly sideways to the road, and there was a wall near to the cottage itself.
She also told me that there was 2 pictures hanging on the wall.
A photograph of a soldier.
Which is correct. It was my mother's brother.
Sonny came to accept
That's
Jenny
what I mean.
as the
Like, how do you
reincarnation of his
even
mother,
know?
and presented her with this, the only known...
How do you even know? Like, how do you really know? How do we know anything? I mean, we don't. Like, we can't possibly know that much.
Photograph of Mary Sutton. He also told her how, after Mary's death, the children had been separated, sent to different orphanages, and adopted out. Together, Sonny and Jenny found and reunited the surviving children. Christy, 72, Phyllis, 71, Frank, 70, and Betty, 60.
Like, do I just like... It's the reason that I like wrestling just because it was on, like, when I was a kid, and then I just, like, started watching it, and then that was it. You know what I mean? What if they would have put on a rodeo? Would I have wanted to be a cowboy?
Thought she was an only child.
I never even knew I was adopted, or that I had brothers, or I had
How do you
sisters.
keep a diary?
It's an incredible
Wow.
story. Elderly brothers
Like
and
on a
sisters
Memento?
reunited by a young woman's otherworldly dreams.
Examine what
It's a
feelings
case
are
that has
evoked.
caught the attention of noted...
You know, one thing that brought this up, I've been wanting to talk about this for a couple weeks now, is that somebody made a statement to me. I was talking to him. I don't think I was at the Dollar Tree. I think it was just like at Kroger or something. I was talking to this stranger, and they told me that they liked every movie they'd ever seen. Like, that they'd never, like, there was some variance, but that, like, they had never left a movie, like, disappointed. That, like, they had just went every time. And I was like, that, like, really blew my mind, and it really got me back down this rabbit hole of, like, of whether... Like, that was just, that's really crazy to me. Like, I'm not saying it's a negative. It's probably a positive, but, like, it's wild to me that, like, somebody could say, like, I like every movie is good.
Psychiatrist Dr. Brian Weiss.
Jenny's happens to be one of the most interesting cases of all because
Men in Space.
there's really such good documentation. The Irish children of Mary Sutton, who are now...
Although there's a case to be made, I guess, that some of it is just like there's examples to me of, like, situations like that where a person says every movie is good. There's also examples that, like, point out much more individualized, ingrained stuff, I guess.
60s and 70s.
I love
These are
Neil
very believable
Breen
people. They know
movies.
that Jenny is coming up with memories or knowledge of their
It's just crazy to me that
things
they've
that were
never
not
seen a bad
published
movie.
anywhere. This is not a famous family. This was a fairly impoverished family.
Revisiting the remains of the cottage in Malahide rekindled long-buried memories now vividly recalled by Jenny and...
Yeah, we used to watch Neil Breen movies over on Twitch. There was always surprise Neil Breen ass, too.
The children.
The whole
I always
home,
think we
you're
were
looking at,
finally
this
going
is
to
a
get
home
through
that-
one of them without
There
it.
was
and
10
would be-
people in at one time. Your mother, father, and 8 children.
Neil Breen is like, obviously, if I just wanted to rent a place and show a Neil Breen movie, I could. There's nothing he could do to stop it. He could sue me after the fact, but like, if I didn't charge any money for it, it was just like a free public thing, then I could do it if I wanted to, but I'd rather have people's permission to do that kind of stuff. And I reached out to him and I wrote him this real detailed thing about, you know, how it was not going to be like about how shitty his movies were, that I was someone who I really, you know, appreciated his art, and I wanted to reflect that to an audience. And he responded just no.
There was a large fireplace that dominated the kitchen living area.
Oh, made with Vince Vaughn.
She used to bake bread on that.
I remembered stuffing the mattress, and on one particular day, trying to get it back through the door again.
I couldn't get it back in.
The other funny director interaction one of them on Twitter that I've had was with Tommy Wiseau, the guy who made The Room. I watched The Room every day for 365 days in a row, and he tweeted about it and talked about it quite a bit as it was going on, but absolutely refused to give me even a discount on a license to show the movie publicly.
That was for the bed, the mattress for the bed.
And then, at the jetty, Sonny filled in the final unexplained piece of the puzzle. The reason why Jenny had dreamed of this place for so many years.
When I told him about my memory of the jetty, and
like, are there people out there who like all food is good? Like literally they could just go anywhere and eat absolutely anything, and it would be a fine experience. Do you okay? If you like every movie, then do you miss out on you remove the extremes, but then you remove the extremes? Like, is that because otherwise I feel like if there was that much of a variance between how they felt about the movie, they'd be like, oh, I get what you mean. I like all movies, but I really like some movies, and other ones, you know. He was just like she was like, it was just completely like all good movies. So, I mean, do you miss out on that then? You don't suffer through, like, feeling like the movie's terrible, but then, like, you don't get, like, that amazing feeling either.
He said, well, I know what that was about.
I knew then that she was telling me something that nobody else could know.
Well, and also, I'm not trying to do my own episode of Sightings here. But I watched The Room every day for 365 days in a row. I completed the challenge. And almost immediately after that was the pandemic, like within like a couple months. So did I cause that by stopping watching The Room every day?
I'm the one that came down these steps. I'm the one that went over there. And my mother was the one that come down to meet me.
As a young boy, Sonny caddied at a golf course.
And no, I did not watch the Thorpes were not it's not a 365 recurring thing. I covered the Thorpes for over a year. I made sure I cleared
on a nearby island.
That time period.
His mother would wait for his return every evening. Is Jenny Coquelle the reincarnation of Mary Sutton? How does she know the details of a life that ended 21 years before she was born? For the children, it's a miracle.
We got a lot of pleasure out of what has happened.
For
yeah,
Jenny,
Tommy was like,
finding the
someone
Suttons
should
has
talk to
finally
Mark
brought an end
Fusion
to the
about
prophetic dreams
what he
she's
learned
had
watching the
since
movie,
childhood.
watching The
There's a
Room every
sense
day
of
for 1
freedom.
year.
Which is strange.
But wouldn't give
I don't
me
feel
the
same kind of responsibility towards them.
wouldn't
I've
give
been
me
allowed
the
to accept
permission
that
to
they
show
have
it.
Grown up, they're individuals. There's still a sense of responsibility, but it's different.
I think those girls have probably
I don't
forgotten
feel
about me by now.
Tied to the past in quite the way that I felt I was for half a lifetime. I'm able to sort of look out and see things from a different perspective now.
I was also supposed to, I think we talked about this a long time ago, but last time we talked about The Room, but I was supposed to be part of like an oral history about it, of like people involved in it talking about it and stuff, and they were going to talk to me about watching it every day for a year. But then literally I got high and forgot to ever message him back.
Before Jenny Coquelle entered their lives, the children of Mary Sutton didn't share holidays, exchange family photos, or even write to one another. Whether or not you believe that Jenny is the reincarnated spirit of their dead mother, she has brought the family together, just the way a real mother would.
Coming up next.
I could tell my UFO story. I could try to lay hands on some chick.
A mass sighting of a mysterious craft.
And then we could
leaves
talk about
unanswered
the coma
questions.
thing.
Then, a psychic hunts for a child killer, and a Japanese lake monster caught on tape.
I can't afford a dolphin.
On the night of November 7th, 1990, more than 40 people standing on a hotel rooftop in Montreal, Canada, shared a
That's what they called it,
once-in-a-lifetime
an oral
experience.
history.
Above them, in the night sky, an enormous oval
I don't know
of
whatever
light,
came of the
described
project
by many
either.
as a mothership, hovered silently for more than 2 hours. These eyewitnesses were all part of the most significant mass UFO sighting in Canadian history. UFO sightings by multiple witnesses are extremely rare. Perhaps the largest mass sighting occurred in 1991, when hundreds of people in Mexico City all reported seeing the same UFO appear and reappear over a one-week period. But despite hours of videotaped footage and eyewitness accounts, the Mexico sightings were never investigated by a single military or governmental agency. And in Montreal,
He always
the
seems
largest
so
mass sighting in
surprised.
Canadian history is receiving the same lack of attention from the very people who could hold the key to unlocking one of the world's most profound UFO mysteries. It happened on a
I just think vapes hit different for me, and like I like the ritual and the routine of a one hitter. Plus, I can like completely manage where I'm at. You know what I mean?
November night.
I'll do a
in
bowl
1991.
sometimes, but
More than 40
not tip-
people
I mean, when I'm on
shared a
stream.
stunning experience.
I saw this thing.
It was not looking like an object at all.
Stunned.
I do. I mean, I have
I was
vapes. I just don't
stunned.
typically use
Bernard
them on
Kenneth
stream.
said that he saw the UFO as he hurried home from a late night at the office.
It was more like a kind of pencil.
What a
of
terrible
light. It was
haircut,
a
terrible
greenish
shirt.
color, but looking very odd.
Guests at the Montreal Bonaventure Hotel reported seeing the UFO while swimming in the rooftop pool. Lifeguard Lynn St. Pierre was
That's
on
not
duty
where
that
Jimmy
night.
Snuka
So I
killed
stepped
his
outside,
wife.
I looked
Killed
at
his
the lights,
girlfriend.
and I was kind of scared because I didn't know what it was. So I went back in. I said, somebody pinched me because I don't believe what I see.
This is a photograph of the object they all saw. Shrouded by a thick blanket of fog, the UFO appeared to hover low in the night sky for nearly 3 hours.
My first reaction while driving was, well, it's probably some kind of a promotional stunt for the Olympic Stadium. You know, probably a game or something.
I saw about, I would say, 6, 7, 8 spots within the shape of an egg.
I could even hear the sound the thing was making. It was a very definite purring sound. You know, some
Yeah,
kind
one
of-
hitters are pretty in a pretty efficient
Every
way.
corners that I went, I had that thing over my head.
I was puzzled, basically. I said, you know, what is this thing? But never
Oh,
did I
Boyle
think that I
sibling.
was
Oh, look
seeing
at this
a
character.
UFO of some sort, you know, or that this thing
Asshole
would be
best
coming from
friend in an 80s
God knows
movie.
where.
Eyewitnesses called Montreal's largest French-language newspaper, La Presse. A reporter and photographer were dispatched to the hotel rooftop.
I believe that I have seen lights or glimmers.
Remember Ruby had a guy on that talked like this?
But I
He was
cannot
like, hey, Ruby, don't bring up the fact that I murdered my wife. We don't talk about this on the podcast. No, I have slept with over 200 women.
say at all what it is.
A nearby construction site was lit with spotlights pointed skyward.
What was
Some
that guy's name?
eyewitnesses dismissed what they were seeing as the light's reflection in the fog.
After
Hey,
those
Ruby.
lights were shut down, the phenomenon, the lights remained in the sky, so it was not a reflection of some
My
sort.
wife, she is
Constable
missing.
Moray
I'm looking
received
for
the
a new
first
girl.
reports of a UFO sighting. He called the airport and the military to see if they were
He's
picking
probably
up the
not looking
object
for
on
a
radar.
hamster mom.
They were not.
Well, in my experience, I did see a fair bit of everything, but I never encountered anything similar to that. It did not disappear quickly. It faded away type of thing.
The next morning, a cursory account of the UFO.
Somebody, for some reason, somebody was trying to bury JF, the commenter from Grace's chat, and was like, Is this the JF that's the Ben Thorpe simp? And I was like, who considers JF to be a Ben Thorpe simp?
UFO sighting, written by Jules Bellevaux, was published in La Presse, accompanied by one of the pictures taken by photographer Marcel Laroche from the hotel rooftop.
Liquid spotlights.
Bernard Guénet read that
sounds
article
like a Mad
and
TV
realized
character.
that what he had seen the night before needed further investigation. The police
JF
were
Garepi, there we
unresponsive,
go,
so
yeah.
Guénet contacted aerial anomalies expert Dr. Richard Haynes.
And Ava
One
came
of the
in and
things
was
that's
like,
important about this sighting is the
dropping
number
questions.
of highly credible eyewitnesses that later drew pictures of what they saw. They all pretty much saw the same thing. Well, why is that significant? Because it says it is not hallucination.
Dr. Haynes examined
there's
the
the
color
liquid
negatives of
spotlights.
the UFO photographs. He also analyzed digital enhancements of the images, which yielded controversial results.
We are talking here about an object. It was not a light reflection, let's say from a man-made lights on the ground.
Josie
During their
Lassard is from
investigation,
here, isn't she?
Guénet and Haynes also discovered that a military base a few miles from the hotel had experienced an unexplained power failure on the night of the UFO sightings.
The base experienced a 12,000 volt lead failure for a period of time. I find that very interesting.
A computer mock-up of the UFO was created based on measurements done on site. It was determined that the UFO could have been over 6,000 feet wide.
What?
The calculations and an exhaustive research report went to more than 50 organizations.
Huh?
Not one
6,000 feet?
That's significant. That a large object could hover over downtown Montreal, a major metropolitan area of North America, and be seen by so many people, pictures drawn of it, photographs taken of it, and no official response. That, to me, is fascinating.
It was something quite extraordinary. They had the feeling that it was not from here, that it was different.
Based on my experience as a police officer, I really can't say what the origin of these lights was.
I'll remember it for the rest of my life, that's for sure. But since I made a lot of interviews, everybody's asking me questions and
Dolphin
recognizing me
could
in
pop
the
up
street.
here.
They won't stop me, but they look at me like I'm a UFO.
Yeah, holy shit.
It
That's
changed my
crazy.
life in that kind of
A
way.
mile and a half?
I know that I've seen something, I've heard the thing, and no way someone's going to
We get
convince
Fred
me that
Ward
I've
to
seen
play this
some
guy.
kind of a tricky lighting pattern. I mean, there was an object up there. It corresponds to the descriptions that were taken from the other people on site, and I'll never forget it, essentially.
Although the lights hovered over Montreal for nearly 3 hours and between 40 and 75 eyewitnesses were present,
Royal Canadian
no
Mounted
official
Police.
government or military unit was dispatched to investigate. One wonders what it would take for authorities to feel a sighting is worthy of investigation.
Probably some proof. Big
Next
money.
on Sightings, police and a psychic detective try to find a child's killer.
I've never had a case that affected me in this manner.
Should get that one guy to snap his fingers and bring her back.
In St. Louis, she was just Baby Jane, a faceless, nameless 9-year-old murder victim who lay in the county morgue for months, unclaimed and unloved. She was buried in a pauper's grave.
A mile and a
That
half
was
UFO
11 years ago,
over
and police still don't know
Montreal.
who she was or who killed her. To keep the case alive, Sightings offered the services of psychic Noreen Renaer. In the best of all possible
Renaer,
worlds,
wasn't that the guy
children
from the
are a
Nexium
cherished
cult?
blessing, a living miracle. They are meant to be loved and nurtured when they are young, set free when they're ready. But this is not the best of all possible worlds, and not all children are treated as a precious gift. In 1983, the decapitated body of a 9-year-old girl was found in the basement of an abandoned building in St. Louis. The building is gone now, its neighbor condemned and forgotten. But St. Louis Police
like this
Sergeant
suit,
Joe
though.
Burgoon will never forget what he found here 11 years ago.
Where I'm standing at would be approximately where our victim was found.
Yeah, Keith
About
Renaer.
3 o'clock in the afternoon, 2 gentlemen went down in the basement.
That
It
Nexium
was
shit
completely
was
dark down there.
crazy.
And one of them had a cigarette lighter. and he
Nerdy as hell, too.
flicked the lighter on, and he observed what appeared to be a body on the floor. He then immediately turned and ran out and called the police.
We responded to that location, and in the basement,
Colonel Leroy Adkins.
there was the decapitated
Checks out,
body
same
of
as
a
the
young
name on the
black
nameplate
female.
on the desk.
And
Whoa,
I was
look how
devastated
precarious
when I
this
saw the
is.
body.
Whoa!
No police officer wants to see a child brutally murdered in that fashion.
After years on the beat, police officers develop a hard shell. They have to. But this was one case that hit
It just
Detective
seemed
Atkins in the gut.
like phrased strange to me.
Get chill bumps
Have to
when I
develop
think
a
about
hard
this
shell,
case.
like it's a
Many nights I've
like he's an
awakened in the
ice
sweat,
cream or
the
something.
cold sweat.
No parent reported a missing child. No school reported a missing student. When the child was finally laid to rest, there was no funeral. She was just a number on a marker until area school children raised the money to purchase a tombstone so we wouldn't forget.
Why did the school children have to do that?
This doesn't make any sense why you would have to do that to a little girl.
When word of the case reached the Sightings offices, we immediately called psychic Noreen Renair. Having produced hundreds of clues that have helped solve dozens of police cases, Noreen wanted to help. Using a process called psychometry, she is able to psychically experience the crime herself.
I get pictures. They're very disjointed pictures, images, sort of like a foggy dream, fading.
We arranged for a phone meeting between Detectives Burgoon and Atkins in St. Louis and Noreen in Orlando, Florida. Assisted by hypnotist Walt Steeb, Noreen tries to put herself into the crime scene. She touches the rope found on the dead child and slowly begins to speak as if she were the young victim.
He's holding my hand. I feel like he's holding my left hand.
As Noreen moves deeper into her trance, she begins to experience what she believes is the physical and emotional pain of the child.
Oh my God,
Forget
come
the pain,
on.
Noreen. Go beyond the pain.
My chest is hurting me. It's not being strangled.
Noreen had no prior knowledge of the case. She was told only that the victim was a young female, found decapitated.
Any other body damage that would indicate some other cause of death other than decapitation?
Yeah, what? That's pretty.
She was manually strangled, and then after death she was decapitated. That's what the medical examiner tells us.
Her accuracy was compelling to the detectives who had been openly skeptical before the session.
Again, I mean, this is an actual open murder case that she's part of the police investigation of. Like, that kind of... It just seems ridiculous to me.
The help of a psychic. Although I'm not optimistic.
The semen was, I don't know if there's types of semen, or it tells, if semen could tell blood type. Can we get any verification on what I've said so far?
There was semen found.
The detectives had many unanswered questions.
Why would that be a surprise if it was on the front page of the newspaper? Like, at what point? How is that psychic behavior?
Could answer.
Where was she killed?
Where the river and the border is. The river goes up and down.
Do you see the bridge crossing this river?
I do. I see the bridge. There's a very strong B in the name.
Would the name Brooklyn mean anything to you?
Yes.
Belleville?
Noreen's psychic vision affirmed the detective.
Well, he's just feeding her all of the information. Like, he's just telling her, and she's like, oh yeah, the bridge, absolutely.
Detective's theory that the child was
Did it
killed
happen
out of
between,
state,
I don't know, 10
then
o'clock and
dumped in St.
10:20?
Louis.
Absolutely.
But where was she from? Who was her family? Noreen began to answer the detectives as if the child was speaking through her.
Oh my
Mother and father?
My mother did things that some people would think was wrong. Sometimes I saw her crying.
This is awful.
And
This
they
lady is the
tied
worst.
Something around her.
This is so
arm,
mean.
And it was
Like,
rubber,
somebody's
like-
dead. And this
And
lady's
then they
pretending to be a
put
dead
something-
child.
If the
Like,
parents were involved in
what?
illegal activities,
What would make someone
they might
wanna
not
do
phone
that?
the police when their daughter disappeared. But what about her school?
Oh
Wouldn't
my
they
God.
report a missing child?
Who was your favorite teacher?
My teacher took me. My teacher took me.
Your teacher took you?
My teacher took me. It's my teacher.
The detectives asked Noreen to give them more details about the teacher.
Got kicked out of the service so I would have a dishonorable discharge.
A police composite artist was called to the meeting to get a
she sounds
physical
like the lady
description
that
of
checked
supposed
in
killer.
the new arrivals
The face
in
shape
Beetlejuice.
itself would be long. I can see his forehead.
Cover Psychic Falls,
so
maybe.
his hair must go
Let me
back
screenshot it so I can
away from his forehead. The eyes are smaller, more close set.
Noreen's intriguing leads have given the case new life.
Intriguing
Perhaps
leads?
soon, little Jane Doe won't be just a date of death on a blank tombstone. And the person who killed her will be punished for what he has done.
I've never had a case that affected me in this manner, and that still continues to affect me. And I would
So, I mean, is he just talking to the psychic because the case is intensely personal to him and he can't really...
Here's another...
Like, if you're him, how do you move on from that? Like, this is a case that's, like, super important to you, but you can't... You just can't crack it. Is it just cope at that point to reach out to a psychic and have her feed you delusions to make you, like, feel like it's fulfilling his sense of, like, I need to be doing something, you know what I mean?
Another look at the artwork based on
I
Noreen
don't
Renee's
understand.
psychic
It just
visions.
seems really weird to
Because
me.
of leads she's provided, the St. Louis
Lalo.
Police Department has reactivated this case. If you have any information about Baby Jane, please contact...
If you've seen this man.
Contact the Homicide Division of the St. Louis Police Department.
When Sightings returns, a legendary lake monster known as Ishi is
I
captured
can't
on
wait for
tape.
this.
Two bumps were moving at the same time together.
No, not on a child murder.
For the past 30 years, at least one Japanese
We
import
have
has
a
been
pa- we have a
unaffected by
palate
trade
cleanser
and tariff
from the
disputes.
land of the rising
Japanese
sun.
monster movies. Well, now the country that brought us Mothra and Rodan and Godzilla has a new monster named Ishi. But this monster isn't created from latex and paint. The Japanese believe that he is a real-life lake monster who's made his film debut in a startling home video shot earlier this year. The eyewitnesses who saw this creature in person are convinced beyond a shadow of a doubt that what they saw was a lake monster legend come to life.
Right, I see. I get what you're saying.
They are thought to be living fossils, prehistoric creatures that have defied extinction. They plumb the depths of freshwater lakes around
just
the world.
seems like
the most famous
like
are the Loch Ness
cruelty to
Monster
me
in Scotland,
to
Champ
just
in Lake
make
Champlain,
shit
New
up
York,
about a
and
child murder.
Ogopogo
It's crazy.
in Lake Okanagan, British Columbia. Located over 1,000 miles from Tokyo on the southern Japanese island
Beautiful.
of Kyushu, Lake Akita is formed by an
Lake
extinct volcano
Ikea?
and is nearly 1,000 feet deep. While many sightings of the creature dubbed Ishi have been carefully
There's
documented
a,
over the
a
last
shit
16
ton
years,
of lake
the
monster
man who's
movies. I
credited
don't
with
remember
Ishi's
that
initial
one
discovery
specifically
on
though.
September 3rd, 1978, is Hiroto Kawaji. His house sits right at the water's edge.
I was 10 years old at the time, and about 20 of my classmates had come over to my house after school. Around 6 o'clock, there in the water, I noticed something rise up about 200 meters from shore. Many of my friends were playing ball, and I yelled
I feel
out
like
to
I would
them,
like
"Look,
I would like to
there
see
in the
just
water."
about any lake
My parents
lake
and grandparents
monster movie.
also
I'd at
came
least
out
watch
and
it.
saw the creature. It stayed there for about 3 to 5 minutes, then swam away at a very high speed. My grandparents were not surprised, as they have heard stories of such a creature in the lake. So nothing much was done after that day, but after about 6 months, word had spread to local newspapers about what we saw. And then they came. Newspaper photographers, writers, and many TV reporters.
Those newspaper reports kicked off a media frenzy and merchandising bonanza that continues to gain momentum year after year.
Yeah.
Tour buses bring visitors by the thousands to Akita Paradise, a theme park
look at
overlooking
that.
the lake. There's no frightening aspect of
Gee,
the
I
legend
wonder
of
why
this
there
monster.
keep being
Ishi is
sightings. Why do people keep talking about Ishi? I wonder why. I wonder if there could be any other motive to say that this creature has been seen.
embraced with fanciful curiosity, and there's Ishi merchandise in every size and shape.
Oh
The
boy.
employees who work here have become rather casual about the monster. Not because of the variety of souvenirs, but because they claim to see the real thing so often.
Look at that shot there.
I've seen
Yuko
Ishi many
Yamanaka.
times, and it's the most noticeable out there on calm days when
Looks
no
like she
wind
works at
disturbs the
Mrs.
water.
Fields.
First, you see waves forming. Then the black lumps can be seen above the water as it swims away at
Oh
high
boy,
speed.
can you imagine if somebody sat you down and they were like, listen, we've got definitive proof now. Hey, what's up, Vinny? We've got definitive proof now. Just check out this video, and that's what it was.
What is this creature? Here, it surfaces
Ishi
momentarily,
plushie, absolutely.
only to submerge and then resurface
I want
again
to play.
and
I want
again
a
before disappearing
Call of
entirely.
Duty Ishi skin.
Many photographs have been taken over the years by different eyewitnesses. They all bear Ishi's calling card, an enigmatic
I mean, I would get up
disturbance
and
on the
leave if
surface
somebody
of the lake.
had shown me that.
Some believe Ishi is
Like,
a
in
giant
good faith,
eel,
I would've got
like
up
this
and
one,
left.
kept on display at one lakeside tourist attraction. But could an eel grow to nearly 100 feet in length? as seen on this video?
What is it?
Akihiko
What's July?
Ikemizu created the
Disability
Ishi
Pride
Investigation Group that set out to monitor activity on the lake in hopes of photographing Ishi close up.
I saw Ishi from the long distance, but
Hold
I
on,
don't
what's
really
his
think.
name?
I saw Ishi from the long distance, but I
Ikemizu.
don't really think that was big eel because I saw tail. Then I saw two.
I like to record, make sure that I'm being recorded pronouncing names, and then eventually I'm going to sell my voice to overseas phone book publishers.
Bumps also. Two bumps were moving at the same time together.
Tsuyoshi Matsuyama claims to have had the largest number of Ishi sightings.
Tsuyoshi Matsuyama, that's a good name. That sounds like a wrestler.
I was a ferry boat driver at the time, and one of my passengers said, "What is that there in the water?"
Wario?
I came out and saw the head of a large creature above the water.
I saw
and
the head of a
quickly turned
large
the boat
creature.
in that direction. Even though I gave my boat its full power, the beast swam very fast and very quickly, then dove under the water to get away. I would guess that I have seen Ishi 20 to 30 times since then, and each time it amazed me. But I've not given up. I spend many hours on these waters, and someday I'll
What
get
does he mean,
absolute
give
proof
up?
that
He said
Ishi
he
is
saw
here.
it.
Ishi's supposed home in Lake Akita fits a pattern of sightings
say
that has
Ishi
existed
phone home?
for over supposed home in Lake Ishi's supposed home in Lake
Okay,
Akita
supposed
fits
home.
a pattern of sightings that has existed for over 100 years.
Tonight
Monsters like
that's true.
Nessie, Champ, Ogopogo, and now Ishi all live in freshwater lakes between 40 and 60 degrees north latitude.
How you doing, Luna Star?
In the United States, all five
Cody
Great
Turbo was
Lakes
a real
fall
fan of
within
your
these
karaoke
monster-prone
video
latitudes.
that we watched the other day.
If you've had a
He saw
paranormal
Ben doing the
experience, call the
backstroke.
Sightings hotline at 1-900-933-SIGHT. That's 1-900-933-7444. Each call 65 cents a minute. Average call lasts 3 minutes. Sightings is also online. Our email address is sightings@aol.com.
Until next time, remember, no mystery is closed
To an open mind.
For Sightings, I'm Tim
Well,
White.
Tim White has done it again with our good friend Henry Winkler. I don't have time to watch another episode, but I want to watch real quick a Savvy Guy. I feel like he really hit the other day. Here we go. Getting eerie feelings around certain people.
What's going on now, guys? Back at you guys with a quick little presentation. In this presentation, guys, I'm gonna talk to you guys about.
See, I was kind of curious if you remember the one we watched last time. He was kind of in like a real downbeat, somber mood. I was wanting to see if that continued over here.
All
right,
quick,
see you later,
I'm gonna just
ATF
talk to
Media.
you guys about. That's what I want to talk to you guys about.
No, not today, Vinny. Today was just sightings, and then I had like a few minutes, so I wanted to plug in a Savvy Guy. But you need to make sure you listen to this, Vinny, in case you get an eerie feeling around certain people.
Have you ever gotten eerie feelings around certain people? And
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like we're the views on him are so. He seems like a different person.
You can't necessarily put your hands on it, but just being around certain people, you just get an eerie feeling being around them. I used to think that was just me, but
how tall do you think
I believe
Savvy
when
Guy
you're
is?
around certain people and when you get eerie feelings about them, the reason why you're getting those types of feelings is because you're gauging their energy. When you gauge people's energy, I believe it's a gift, because in my younger days I didn't have that ability. But I believe I didn't have that ability.
You think he's 5'9",
I believe that
5'8"?
When you're around, when you're around certain people and the vibes.
Like, I always thought it was I thought it was always kind of like shocking when I found out that King Cobra is like a tall guy. I think he's like 6'3" or something. Like, that's like seeing him on camera, I would have never guessed that. Like, I think it's because Savvy projects, like, kind of that, how some, especially with like his whole rationale of that, like, looks are so important. I thought maybe he was like a height max or two.
Just don't feel right. Don't ignore that.
Savvy
That's one
rocking
thing
a
I had to
V-neck.
learn. If you're around someone and the energy don't feel right, that's just a person that you want to avoid. That's somebody that you don't really want to deal with. You got to pay attention to energies when it comes to people. Vibes, because...
Is he surveilling?
If you're around someone...
What's he doing?
And the vibe and energy just don't feel right.
Yeah.
You need to pay attention to that, because you never want to ignore what you feel. Just don't allow a person to drag you down. If you get negative energy from a person, don't allow that negative energy that you get from that person, don't allow that energy to drag you down. That's all you got to do. But never ignore
I think he
certain
did
feelings
shower,
that you
'cause
get
he's
around
got a new
people.
shirt on.
Like just certain eerie type of feelings that you get around certain people. Don't ignore those feelings, because those feelings are real. If you're getting some eerie feelings, if you're getting eerie feelings around people, you want to be careful with that. You really want to be mindful with that, because eerie feelings are real.
That would make Lalo like 4'11".
If you're getting an eerie feeling from a person, evidently it's a reason why you're getting those types of feelings from that person.
Okay.
So
the Portuguese that I've seen him pose next to, he's like basically the size of 2 Portuguese.
Always follow your gut intuition.
From what I saw, the pictures I've seen of him with Portuguese men.
I feel like when you getting eerie feelings from a person, that'll let you know if you can deal with that person or if you can't deal with that person. That's gonna give you insight on if you can deal with that person or not.
You got your hair dyed pink.
I'm very mindful about the energy.
Oh,
and
you got some
vibes that I get
highlights,
from people, because I truly believe, like I always say, guys, vibes don't lie, energy don't lie, and if you ever,
we have specifically heard Savvy Guy say the opposite. I feel like vibes aren't real, game isn't real.
Get eerie feelings around a person, don't ignore those feelings, because I used to try to ignore those feelings, and I used to wonder, like, why am I getting eerie feelings around a person? That's because your intuition is at work. Never ignore those eerie feelings that you get when you're around certain people, because
you don't think this is a flattering
those eerie
camera
feelings, that's your inner self speaking to you. That's your intuition letting you know to be mindful of this person, and
Thank you, it's me.
Don't be careful with this person, because you got to be careful dealing with certain people, because I'm just a firm believer that energy don't lie when it come to people, guys.
Next month, August 7th.
I've always said
nice.
that, you know, when it come to dealing with human beings.
Are you gonna do a birthday
energy
karaoke?
don't lie. And whatever energy you getting from a person, that's gonna let you know, is this a person you need to deal with, or if this is a person that you need to keep at bay. That's why I'm very
okay. Are we moving forward then with are we officially adopting the possibility of considering a conspiracy theory here, where Savvy Guy is actually not a sub 5 as he claims, and he's actually like a dude that's got money, and like after the stream ends, he like tilts his camera up, and then he's like Denzel. Is that what you're saying? You think he's intentionally downplaying his value to fit this character?
Intuitive at this phase of my
Savvy
life
Guy
when it comes
can't
to
be
dealing
fake.
with
Come
people.
on, Savvy
Like,
Guy's got to keep it real.
I'm real intuitive when
You're
it
getting
comes
a
to
tattoo
people's
sleeve
energy.
of what though?
I'm real skeptical about a person's energy because I don't ignore the energy
Classic
that I get from a person.
Classic Hanna-Barbera characters.
And
that would be cool to have
I'm
a
to
whole
a point
arm
in
of
my
the
life to
Flintstones.
where I'm no longer ignoring certain vibes and certain cues that I get from people. If you feel like this is a person you need to watch out for, this is a person you don't need to deal with. Oh, I'm getting some real foul, sinister energy from this person. Don't deal with
Blanc.
it. Follow your heart. Follow your intuition.
Fragrances, the fine liquors.
Vibes don't lie, guys. And I've said it time and time again. It's true. Vibes do not lie.
What?
A lot of times when you get a bad feeling about a person, 9 times out of 10, you're usually right. And what I had to understand in my life is that don't allow the negative energy that a person has on them. Don't allow
really
that energy to taint
fancy.
you. Don't allow yourself to be affected by the negative energy of others. Because I used to allow myself to be affected.
Would it change your mind at all, or would it cancel out the conspiracy if you knew that he had been doing this for like 10 years with, very minimal? I mean, this video's got 852. He would get 2-3K views on it. I don't know how much you would make in what his ad rate or whatever is, but I don't think Savvy's bringing in big bank from this. So does that change does that negate the conspiracy or no? Like if he's been doing it for a long time and not had any real success?
I used to allow those negative
you think it would
energies
reinforce
to jump
it?
on me.
Okay.
Don't allow those negative energies
Yes,
to jump on you.
cruise activity. He wants to buy. He said he wanted to get like 3 or 4 women and then put his face in their buns. Just buy it, so he didn't have to hassle around.
An eerie feeling around a person, you just want to keep them at bay. You know, if you gotta deal with them, speak to them, but don't engage much with them.
So do you think really he lives in like a
if you gotta be
McMansion
around
and
him,
he's
if
got
you're
like a
working
nice
with a person
car
like this, you can speak to him, but don't
he's
engage
buying
much
the box
with him.
on the reg?
Because
I said on the reg.
You don't want to entertain
by the way.
that negative energy that they got on them.
And
you don't want those negative energies, those negative frequencies that they have on them to affect you negatively. You know, because those negative frequencies
Isn't he trying to
that
get
this
in the
person has on
UFC
them
fight on the
can
White
jump
House
on you
lawn?
and cause you to act out of character, and you don't want that. This is why I say
you're gonna get 2 little hearts.
And I wish I would have known this in my younger days, that if you get an eerie feeling about a person, don't ignore that. If you feel uncomfortable, uneasy around certain people, don't
People
ignore
are attacking
that.
EFD.
You know, follow your intuition, because it won't.
I don't know about
fail
Savvy.
you.
How Savvy?
If
I don't
you're
know.
feeling
I need
uneasy
more
around a
information
person,
on him
it's
to know how he
obviously
would do
a
in a
reason
fight.
to why you're feeling this way around that person. Because sometimes certain people will act out of pocket towards you, because the energy that you're carrying is positive and the energy that they're carrying is negative energy. So this is why I say,
now I do think that regardless of whatever his actual real life is like, I do think that Savvy Guy is, and you bring up OPC Don. I think Savvy Guy does pay attention to trends and like, if you'll notice, he'll post like he'll do like on trending like stories and stuff. He'll do videos on him. I do think he's very business minded.
Hey guys, just be vigilant. You know, don't ignore those feelings that you get when you're around certain people. Because I used to try to ignore
who else
the
is on the
vibes
panel
that I would get from certain people. I'm not doing it anymore. If I'm getting any kind of bad energy from a person, any type of energy that's making me feel uneasy, just don't deal with that person. It's just that simple. Your intuition will never fail you guys. But
well, I'm just gonna say, I don't think Savvy Guy is like way off base here. I mean, I think he's right. If you get a weird feeling about somebody, they're probably like, doesn't mean they're like a bad person or whatever, but it just means like maybe you're not gonna be compatible with them socially or whatever. But at the same time, you can't outright dismiss all those people in every aspect of your life. Like if you have to work with them or whatever. But I do think you could just like adapt the way that you deal with them to like know like, okay, this person I get a weird vibe from, so I know I can't trust them. But you can still be like civil to them. You know what I mean? You can't just write everybody off that you get a weird feeling about.
I used to think I was the only person that used to get this feeling, and I used to try.
He thought he was the only person who ever got intuition.
Try to ignore it, but it's real, and I'm no longer ignoring the feelings that I get when I'm around people. Yeah.
Luna Stars, on your chest, you're gonna get it. Can't rain all the time tattoo on your right breast and on your left breast. I'm gonna get only forever, not long. I'm sorry. I'm not laughing at the tattoos. I never imagined I'd be talking to you about your breasts. Do I have any tattoos? I do not have any tattoos, no.
You know, I'm no longer ignoring just certain feelings and just certain vibes that I would get when I would deal with people. So I just tell you guys, just be careful. You know, just be mindful of, energy. Because that energy is real. Energy, that energy when it comes to people, guys, it never lies. And in my younger days, when I would get,
you have a few tattoos,
uneasy feelings around certain people, like I used to didn't know what it was or why I was feeling that way. And I used to try to ignore those feelings. But I'm just here to tell you guys, don't ignore anything that you feel when it comes to people. If it's something that make you feel out of place.
I mean, I agree with that.
If it's something that make you feel out of pocket when it comes to a person.
No, I don't have any tattoos.
Just be mindful, guys, and don't ignore what you feel, guys. Because ignoring what you feel.
Yeah, I mean, again, I think he's rooted in the right place here of being like, you don't want to, if you really get a crazy feeling, like you don't want to, you feel weird about him. Definitely you don't want to just put that out of your mind, but also you don't want to like entrench yourself to like, completely negative at the same time. Because you might meet somebody when they're having an off day or something. It doesn't mean that you can't be mindful of the way that you feel in the moment, but I also don't think it's like, that's not a definitive 100% of the time kind of thing. I think you can balance, you can protect yourself while also being being maybe less open to whatever with them, but like you could still like explore a friendship or whatever you are doing with the person without like, while acknowledging that the weird feeling
can cause you to end up in a bad position. Could cause you to get killed. That's something that I wish I never did in my younger days, ignoring just certain feelings that I had inside. This is why I encourage you guys, be mindful, and you'll know the right decision to make. I don't got to tell you guys. You guys have a good evening. Happy Sunday.
Well, that was the wonderful Savvy guy, as always. Well, I think, again, I think Savvy had some... That was a much more... I don't know, is hinged? That was a much more hinged Savvy guy. But at the same time, do you think somebody just like... Do you think he feels like somebody fucked him over and that's why we're getting this video? Like, it doesn't seem to be like one where he's kind of hitting on a more marketable theme. This one seems a little bit like maybe it was a little bit more personal, but... On your right arm, you have an owl tattoo for your grandma that died and a family tattoo with infinity symbol. Getting that cover up, and on your left arm, you have a wolf tattoo. Nice. Ooh, a space snake tattoo would be kind of big back piece of a space snake. And you have a black veil bride star tattoo on your left arm. Wow. It's a lot of tattoos. Savvy guy's clearly hitting the gym, but let's ask him. I think you're right. I agree with you. Whoops. All right, there we go. All right, I got to go. I'll be here tomorrow, though, for 4 stories. I think it's going to be interesting. It's kind of random, but it's something that I had to do. No, I don't have any idea who that is. I don't think I've ever heard of him before. But anyway, I got to go. I appreciate you guys hanging out. I'll be back here tomorrow, 8:15 Central Time. We'll take a look at Gaming for Hope's allegation response video. We'll do the Ballad of Gilbert Ordonez, the homeless man that's stealing from everyone. We'll do a pre-OnlyFans waiting room Instagram live with Coco Star. And then Jimmy will regale us with a pretty epic story from himself as well. So I'm going to go. I appreciate you guys hanging out. Hopefully I'll see you soon.